If you've ever taken your patio equipment out of storage too early because you got faked out by the fake spring, you probably live in Chicago or somewhere in the Midwest, but also go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, folks, because we're back for another episode of Benzinga's pre-market playbook. And we got some stuff to figure out today. Today's the big day for SMCI, right? They're supposed to report here. We had HIMS earnings yesterday. We had Tempest AI earnings yesterday. We got a number of stuff to break down here. It looks like futures are flattish across the board here today. So let's go ahead and get rolling as soon as I can find that intro. Oh, also T3 Tuesday and Anne Marie today loaded up. Let's get it. Hello and welcome back, folks. Happy Tuesday morning. I hope that you had a wonderful Monday evening, and hopefully your morning is going well so far. Let's dive in and take a look at all of the news and get it started. Let me say good morning to all you early birds. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Big Bees, welcome back. Big Bees, I'd love to get your opinion on the HIMS earnings. We're going to cover it here. I've got some thoughts myself. Talked about that a little bit in the happy hour yesterday, so we'll cover it again here today. Good morning, Crimp Biscuit. Good morning, Jim Ferrari. Good morning. Oh my gosh, you squeezed 18 holes in yesterday, Jim. I'm so jealous. That's awesome. Bill, good morning. Pam says hello. Well, hello, Pam. I'm not sure who you're referring to, but hello, Pam. Good morning. Hopefully you're doing well. Chuck, good morning. Couch Potato, Jonathan Cooper, Bernhard, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Nikhil, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Kindred Duke, let's go. What's up, Kindred Duke? Welcome back, my friend. Good morning. Neville, good morning. Harris, good morning. Good morning. Harris says good morning, but maybe not for the market. We'll see. We'll see where the market goes here today. Maybe we're going to have a turnaround Tuesday on our hands. I know we had Matt Maley on yesterday. Did any of you follow Matt Maley into any of his short ETFs like the TZA? We'll see. Nikhil, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Producer, good morning. As always, White Chocolate Mocha. Now we can start the day because White Chocolate Mocha is here. Good morning. Edward, good morning. It's a flat world. Oh, the joke runs deep there, Edward, but that's good. Good morning. Brandy, good morning. Aaron, good morning. How is the QQQ green? Well, the market hasn't opened yet, and the day hasn't really started. That would be my answer. I'm sure things will change. Greetings, Shadowed One. Good morning. Steve, good morning. Sorry we missed you yesterday. We'll talk some more about it. Oh, you're on site. You'll be back at it today. Okay, awesome. Ryan Milligan, good morning. Diamond Hotline, good morning. Pinching Pennies, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Diamond Hot, oh my God, there are so many. Rustam, Sean, Brian, C.A. Forsman, Dermalug, oh man, Mark, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Hamanta, good morning. Oh, we're killing it. Brian, good morning. Sergeant Sexy, Gary, HD, Drew. Let's go, folks. Let's get it ready. This is awesome. This is awesome. We got a big group here today. Let's roll. Let me go ahead and I got to figure out what I'm doing here, right? Got to throw the SPY chart up. Or we're going to start here with the SPY and the outlook here for the day. We'll see where we end up finishing here today, but I'll give you a couple of things to look at. The big piece of yesterday, we were up in the pre-market. We had green arrows across the board, and I said the most important thing here today is going to be can this hold, or do we just roll back over? Well, you all know because you were here in the morning, we sold off hard out of the open and then we bounced and it looked like, hey, maybe we'll have this whole thing where we're up in the morning and then we sell off and now we're bouncing and now we can kind of go, nope, we rolled over and closed on the lows. Actually, if we look inside the chart here on the SPY, you can see here we made a pretty clean double bottom yesterday after bouncing mid-morning and then just rolling over all afternoon. Now today we are flattish, greenish. Let's see, S&P futures up 0.1% here, and that's actually up off the lows. They were a little bit weaker earlier, so I expect SPY here to kind of flip around this area. Maybe it even makes a run at recapturing 600. We're really not that far. We'll see what we end up getting here today. But that's kind of where the SPY's at. Big thing here is that we did close beneath the 50-day moving average. So then some of the next levels are going to be what are going to be what people are looking for. And I have marked them off here on the chart. So you'll see that the next moving average that we have that could potentially act as a support is going to be that 100-day. I've got that at about 593. It's 592.94. That could actually represent a support level, but we have the 5% pullback level from the all-time high down here right around 582.30. That was a previous resistance level that we had marked off. Turns out that a 5% pullback is really, really close to that. So we're just going to double up and use the same level. The 10% pullback is 551.91, so almost 552. And then bisecting that area pretty much right in the middle is going to be your 200-day there at 569. So if we do continue to break down, these are some of the targets that I'm looking at. Again, a lot of this is going to depend on what we get from NVIDIA tomorrow night. So we'll see where we finish up here today. But that's pretty much our outlook here on the SPY. We did have an article for the market outlook here. There wasn't a whole lot of great quotes or tweets like we saw from Ryan Dietrich or Louis Navalier or Ed Yardini the last couple of days here. Stocks are likely to open lower, although they've turned positive here as the morning's gone on. Caution is warranted, says expert, as investors navigate complex dynamics ahead. Now, there's really no news there, right? Like we know that. We know that we got a president that likes to yap. It affects things in the market. We're talking about tariffs, this, that, and the other thing. There's a lot of stuff going on that is going to affect this. So really nothing new there. We'll play those cards as they are dealt. But I did want to jump into some individual names, and I'll give you a preview here of what I'm looking at, what I've got on the docket. I'm sure we're going to go over more of the stocks that you folks want to take a look at. I'm sure we're going to go over the movers, especially as we break them down and especially as they start moving. But I'm looking here at, we're going to talk about Tesla. We're definitely going to talk about Bitcoin. I want to mention Apple here real quick because there's a really, really nothing. There's a comment from a UBS analyst that kind of goes back to the news that we saw yesterday. We had talked about Apple possibly being a safety stock amongst all of these with everything that's going on. So I really wanted to cover that as well. We'll do that. Home Depot we'll cover. They reported earnings, and then Hims, of course, reported earnings. And oh my gosh. Crazy. Diamond Hotline saying, would you give us the list of movers earlier? This would give us a little time to look and study on them before the market opens. Most of the time we get labels 1 or 2 minutes before the market open. Okay, well, Diamond Hotline, generally speaking, no, I would like to go over the news first. News on these bigger stocks is likely going to be more important than some of the happenings on some of these little stocks, to be quite honest with you. I can post the list of movers. Oftentimes, the producer will also scroll the list of movers across the bottom or something like that. But generally speaking, we want to stick with that. And then also, if you really want to spend more time studying some of these movers, my recommendation is you pick up Benzinga Pro, where you can do this starting at 4 a.m. if you want, or even 3 a.m. If you want. And to be quite honest with you, Diamond, the other thing is that the movers list here today, not really great. In some days it's better than others, and those days that it is better than others, we can definitely spend some more time on there and maybe get them a little bit earlier. But there you go. Pre-market gainers, the producer threw them in the chat there. Good feedback, though. Let's think about that. Let's think about how we can maximize our time here. I'm open to all suggestions. Okay, Tesla. New Tesla registrations dip by 50% in the EU in January, despite rising overall market share. So let's take a look here at the article. Producer will give it to you. Here we go. Tesla American EV giant witnessed a drop of over 50% in new car registrations in January, despite battery electric vehicle registrations rising during that period, according to the data from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association. The auto industry said that 7,517 new Tesla cars were registered in the EU in January. That's down from 15,000 in 2023. So big dip there. Let's see, there was another stat in here. Rival performance. Volkswagen continues to be the best-selling car manufacturer in the EU. We talked about Volkswagen trying to bolster some of the EV stuff here, like Rivian, with 229,898 new car registrations last month, marking a growth of about 6% year on year. So Tesla falling a little bit. Let's see. It looks like it's up here in the pre-market. Let's take a look. Yep, up just about 0.2% here in the pre-market. You can see Tesla's actually really had kind of a down move. We've done a really good job outlining some key levels here where this stock might find some support. We actually did find some support around that 100-day, although that support was really quick-lived, and we basically rolled back over, retested it, and snapped it. Next spot that I have here is going to be 311, and I would actually say that there's a range here from about 300 to 311 that should act as support, and it looks like we're kind of going there. It's only about 20 points away from the top end of that range. Wouldn't be terribly shocked if Tesla kind of tested some of that area here. Here's a look inside what we did. Tesla yesterday basically traded with the market, right? We had that wild pre-market where we popped, rolled back over, printed some of those lows, bounced just like the market did, rolled over and closed near the lows. We actually did go down and test that low in the after hours, and today we're up a little bit here. So I'm not sure how much these numbers are actually affecting Tesla here today. I would imagine this is going to trade with the Momo for the rest of the market. So that's kind of what we'll watch here on Tesla. I'd like to know, I think didn't we have a group of people shorting Tesla? I feel like we definitely had some Tesla shorts in here recently. I'd love to know what your trade plan is on Tesla. Are you in a trade? Are you looking for a specific level, whether it be short or long? All the drawings that we've added to these charts, I've really kind of left them on very clearly. We're still in a downtrend. Snapping this downtrend is really what we're going to need, I think, to kind of turn this around and maybe make some more upside moves. But let me know if you folks are trading Tesla. Let me know what kind of trade you want to do on that or what you're looking for. Next, let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and I'm actually going to start with the Bitcoin chart. Let me see if I can find my crypto chart layout here. ONVO News, ONVO will let the first test in normal. Okay, we'll take a look at that here in a sec. Bitcoin here, we've had this support level on the chart for a while, and here we go. We did break 90,000 yesterday. I actually took the rest of I had like just a little bit of cash in my Coinbase account that was actually in USD. I think it was like $70 or just under $70. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw this order out there and I'm going to throw it on at 90K. And if Bitcoin breaches 90K, I'm going to add a little scotch to the portfolio there. So we did do that. We actually broke beneath that. We're in this range. The bottom end of this support area goes down here to about 85K. So if you think that this area is going to get tested or kind of filled, there should be some more downside here. Looking at the futures, Bitcoin futures here did print a low. This is the CBOE futures printed a low of 86,770 earlier this morning. We're actually up off those lows now, 89,000 here. So we did trade up off those lows, but again, I think that this is probably going to trade with the rest of the market here. We are in this support zone. Long-term view, at least my long-term view here, I wouldn't even be mad if this broke down towards 72 to 70,000. In fact, I think CNBC had Katie Stockton on pretty recently that said, even if Bitcoin trades down to 70,000, this is really no big deal at all. Not the end of the world. So I'm in there, got a long-term approach here on Bitcoin with that completely. Here's the story. Bitcoin plunges below 88,000. The crypto chart analysis, Ali Martinez, I think I'm pronouncing that. It's either Ali or Ali. Martinez warns that Bitcoin breaking below a parallel channel could slide to 81,000 unless it reclaims 92,500. So if you're looking for some of those near-term levels, here are some of them. We could probably trade down to 81,000. Remember, I had the bottom end of that support range at about 85,000. Looks like Ali's saying it could actually overshoot that a little bit more. Then the level that we would really need to reclaim, maybe even today, at some point here today, is going to be 92,500. We'll see if we end up getting that. I would imagine if the market is bullish today or if the market trades up, you could actually probably get some trading up in the Bitcoin asset as well. So I don't think that level is out of reach here today. We'll just see what kind of sentiment Bitcoin has here today. Now, this is my favorite part of the story. Blunt's Capital. And yes, that's Blunts with a Z. Blunts Capital notes that Bitcoin is at a key level where a bounce is possible after both sides of the range have been tested. Failure to hold this level could result in a more severe drop. And you'll notice here that the area that he's highlighted here on the chart, very similar to what we've been looking at the last couple of days. The support area that we had drawn is actually beneath this. This is the consolidation area that he's talking about. But I was amused. Gentleman on X whose name is Blunts Trader, Blunts Capital, excuse me. Pretty awesome. That definitely made me smile. Veteran trader Don Alt sees Bitcoin's price action as normal market behavior and suggests that it's the safest approach to wait for a reclaim of 100,000 before making major moves. Now he's giving you that $100,000 price target there, but he's basically saying that the volatility here in Bitcoin is normal. We should be used to it. That's very much akin to what Katie Stockton was saying. So another veteran trader, Adam, says buying near 85,000, which is the 200 EMA level, makes sense, but warns against blindly bidding at current levels. Structuring the trade is tricky since downside squeezes can go much deeper. My thought here on Bitcoin is going to be pretty simple. I have a pretty simple strategy going forward. I've been a hodler, not a trader of Bitcoin. That's really served me well. And my first buy at Bitcoin was in a 6,000 handle. So the strategy that I've adopted here is don't buy Bitcoin unless you're buying it on days that it's down. I know, simple. The KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. So don't buy Bitcoin unless you're buying it on days that it's down. Like I said, if this thing came anywhere near 70,000, I'd be converting more USD to fiat. Now, I'd love to know what you folks think about Bitcoin. I know we have a lot of Bitcoin bulls here. I talked a little bit about Solana yesterday, or I asked you to maybe kind of sell me on Solana, give me the bull case, if you will, on Solana. Still looking for that, but I'd love to hear what you folks are doing with Bitcoin. Are you short-term traders? Are you hodlers? Do you believe in the utility of Bitcoin? What is it that you're looking to do? I'm curious. And what is your favorite coin? Jonathan here saying, Ryan, 18 states have filed for Bitcoin reserve strategy. The money will be coming. This is kind of my thought too. Like, I can't predict when each reversal or when each move is going to happen in Bitcoin. And what's worked for me for a number of years now is just buying it and holding it. And it's never been too much of my portfolio. I've never put too much money in it where I've felt, oh my God, this really can't go down or I'm going to lose my shirt. And so that's actually really worked out. And I'm going to keep doing the same thing. Justin is saying MSTR to 0. Kendra Duke saying Solana is done. Interesting. Nikhil saying ETH and NUKK, bullish on those. Okay, I love it. We got a wide variety of opinion across the board. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for here. Okay, let's see. We got 23 minutes until T3 here. Let's keep rolling. The next thing that I wanted to take a look at was going to be this Apple article. This one I think was pretty interesting. We talked yesterday about Apple investing $500 billion. So we have an analyst here from UBS. Analyst David Vaught is saying this is quote. I'm going to get his quote right. Quote, completely unrealistic mechanically. End quote. So Voigt expressed concern and note to investors, he highlighted that only a mere 10% of Apple's supply chain is U.S. based, with the majority spread across Asian countries such as Taiwan and China. He also pointed out it took Apple nearly a decade to achieve this 10%. So just kind of seems like this investment here is just a large number. Well, the headline figure on the surface is a large number. We believe that it lacks substance at this juncture based on history. Interesting. Vogt further questioned the financial feasibility of the plan, estimating the hiring of 20,000 employees would result in an added $5 billion in operating expenses each year. He also noted that Apple's current annual data center expenditure is around $10 billion, generating approximately $100 billion in free cash flow, with $90 billion allocated for share buybacks. So, of course, Dan Ives from Wedbush, he's been a notable Apple bull for as long as I can remember, described the announcement as, quote, a strategic move, end quote, to expand the company's manufacturing footprint while also aligning with Trump's emphasis on U.S. investments. To tie some numbers to that, Deepwater Management Gene Munster believes that Apple is set to increase the annual U.S. investment by $39 billion, which is a 45% increase from the 2021 run rate. However, Munster suggests that actual incremental investment is closer to $20 billion annually. And he also stated that avoidance of tariffs could help the iPhone maker save nearly $11 billion annually. So we'll see how this plays out. I definitely think Apple has acted as the safety trade here with tech. At least that's kind of what we've seen. The inability or the lack of what do you want to call it? Desire to get into AI. It kind of had kind of a crummy AI offering, I feel like. None of you really seemed impressed with it, unless I'm missing something. None of you really seemed impressed with it. So I actually think that kind of helped it in the long run. As AI really started to pull back, Apple really didn't feel all that bad. And here we are, really not that far from all-time highs. In fact, let's figure out how far we are from all-time highs. We are, under 5% from all-time highs. So Apple's still doing it. Chart looks pretty good. The move back down towards the 200-day was absolutely a buying opportunity. If they do continue to move more of their production and all of that stuff here to the United States, I think that would make some of these other international numbers less important. So Apple steady. Big Mama's still getting it done out there. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at that Anvo PR. Let's see. Is this one of those like small, like junky movers? Yeah, indeed it is. Okay, God, this was a penny stock. You guys are making me stop real news for a penny stock? What happened here? Looks like this was actually a huge move. Grats to all of you that are booking gains on this earlier. That's actually pretty sweet. Let's see what's going on here. Organovo's FXR program, including FXR 314, to be acquired by Eli Lilly and Company. Okay, that's awesome. Did they give any? So this is just one arm of their business that's going to be bought out by Eli Lilly. So we probably don't have numbers then. You guys are just trading the Mo, I'm guessing here. 75-cent move higher, which is about 200% here in the pre-market. This is a significant milestone for our efforts to advance medicines for IBD using insights from our proprietary 3D human tissue models. Okay. Pleased to have this opportunity delivered to patients. Okay. So it looks like a part of their business is getting bought out. Stock's going wild here. I would say that I'm guessing that you folks are just using the technicals on this one. Here's going to be your impulse move. Wouldn't be shocked if this 128 level comes into play again. What do we got here on VWAP? Let's go ahead and add that. Let's see where we're at. VWAP 104. I definitely think that 104 is going to be some support there. Okay, we'll definitely check in here. This one will for sure be in play the rest of the day, I would imagine, given that PR and given the performance here. Volume looking pretty good too, right? Yeah, 23, just over 23.5 million on average. The stock trades 197,000 shares. Float's a little bit higher than our primo zone, but still pretty good here. Low float, I would consider it 17.14 million. Really anything under 20 million is probably low float here. This is traded more than the float already. Market's not even open, so this should be in play here today. And then nothing really on the short interest, right? 0.5% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. What does the financials look like here? They got about $1 million in cash on the balance sheet, and they burn just $2-3 million per quarter. So they're probably going to need some money there. I guess we have to kind of figure out what they're selling an arm of the business to Eli Lilly there that should take care of the finances. But I wonder what some of those numbers are. Anyway, this is pretty good. This should be on deck here today. And it's not breaking down right after that initial pop. So that's also good. Let's see where this shakes out. See if we get some other opportunities here on Anvo later today. Steve, you know I'm going to highlight this. Got the alert on Anvo for 76 cents from the day trading chat. I'll tell you what, the Benzinga day traders, that room starts getting active at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So if you're one of those early traders like Steve here, you can get in real quickly. Those guys all, guys and gals, excuse me, all pretty adept at finding stuff that's moving around. So really, really great. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Okay. So that's Anvo. Let's see where else. Let me see where I was at there. Oh, I'm still sharing. Oh my heavens, for heaven's sakes, I was sharing the wrong tab the whole time. Sorry about that. Anyway, the levels are still good there. The high of the candle there, 128, and then $1 to $1.05 going to be that downside. So, okay, We'll see where we go here on Onvo. Congrats to all of you that have booked some gains there. Congrats to Onvo. Let's see. Am I missing anything? No? Okay. Okay. Sweet. Here we go. Jonathan, appreciate this. Onvo, May 24th, issued 6.5 million shares of common stock and accompanying common warrants. Each common warrant has an exercise price of 80 cents per share, immediately exercisable upon issuance. Okay. Okay, sweet. So that looks like that's going to be one of the movers out of the way. There you go, Diamond Hotline. We got one of those out of the way. Before we finished with our news here. 5 minutes until we do T3. What do we want to take a look at next? We were just looking at the Apple investment. We can do Home Depot. I want to cover HIMS, though, first, because that's a stock that this group has actually been trading quite often. And they reported earnings yesterday and got absolutely smoked. HIMS down 21.4%. What did the options price in? Like a 17% move? Yeah. Options priced in a 17.3% move. So the option buyers did end up winning this print as we sink lower here on HIMS. This has been one of those Mo names, right? Momo to the upside on the GLP-1 angle. Also have the ED angle, hair loss angle, all of that stuff. But Momo to the upside, that Momo kind of dried up, and you can see we go down just as fast as we went up here in HIMS. Now, this does look like it's trying to hold on to this 40 level here. One other thing that I might try to do is, here's the big move. Let's see if we can just eyeball some levels here using Fibonacci set. Okay, so that 36 actually might be another level. This is pretty close to the breakout level here. But what's going on with HIMS, right? Why did we fall on these earnings? Well, let's dive in and take a look at that. Let me get my story up here real quick. I'll try and be better about the tab that I'm sharing here. Him and Hers reported fourth quarter results after Monday's closing. GAAP earnings of 11 cents per share, which met the consensus estimate. Quarterly revenue came in at 481 million, which beat the estimate by 11 million. It's a pretty good beat there. And an increase over revenue of 246 million from the same period last year. So all of those numbers look pretty good. Subscribers grew to 2.2 million. That's a 45% year-over-year increase from 2024. Gross margin 77% for the fourth quarter compared to 83% for the fourth quarter of 2023. It's a little bit of a dip there, but still pretty impressive numbers nonetheless. 2024 was a fantastic year at Hims and Hers as we continue to build platform that leverages personalization technology unlike any other healthcare system. So all of this looks pretty good here. For the full year, for the first quarter of 2025, Him and Hers expects a revenue of 520 million to 540 million and adjusted EBITDA of 55 to 65, reflecting an EBITDA margin of 11 and 12%. For the full year of 2025, the company expects revenue of 2.3 billion and 2.4 billion, adjusted EBITDA of 270 million to 320 million. Those are still pretty good growth numbers there. So what's going on here? Well, we can tell you. If we go back to Benzinga Pro here and we take a look at the news, some of these earnings were good, but we also saw yesterday that there was this Form S. All right. So Form S yesterday, which was filed, which is an employees for benefits. And we believe that this is the concern. We actually kind of poured over this in the happy hour while this was coming out live yesterday. And one of our veterans who's really adept at going through SEC filings was like, hey, this looks bad. This looks like probably the reason why this is selling off. Looks like they used quite a bit here to compensate employees, and this in the end then dilutes the shares. This likely the reason why HIMS is down 22% after a pretty good report and a pretty good guide. So factor that in today. Let me know if this is something that makes it viable for you. Are you not worried about that? Does that not change things for you? I'd love to know what you folks think about that. Him and Hers price target raised from 227 from 25 at Citi. So they think that this is still coming in. Price target raises from Piper from 24 to 35. Price target raised to 27 from City. We already talked about that. And then 61. So Needham actually went from 31 to 61. So it sure looks like the analysts have a different view here of him. Some of them think that this price is, pretty on. Some of them think that, boy, we really need to come in a little bit more here. This has been a Momo name. I would expect nothing less here on HIMS. For any of you that are trading this, I'd love to know what you think here. Is HIMS buyable? Here down 22% up. Did I just screw up my drawing? I did. I'm actually just going to delete that. I'll redraw it if I have to. So is this a dip buy opportunity in HIMS or no? And it sure looks like it's kind of holding out at that 40. We'll see what this does when the market opens. Minus 22% here in the pre-market. Okay. Cosmic Fan is asking, what time is the SMC filing expected? Actually, that's a good question. I don't know if there's a specific time. I did see that it was trading up earlier. Okay, so it actually made a pretty decent move. Is this out yet? Nope. So that looks like just some anticipation. Chat, what do we think? We think SMCI beats. Producer, maybe we should do a poll here. I guess if they release this information before the poll ends, that might taint the results, if you will. But I'm curious. I'm curious to know what you folks think. Does SMCI hit the mark or do they miss the mark here? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Okay. Big Bees, you said that doesn't scare me. I'm assuming that you're referring to HIMS and the dilution that they're doing to employees. You're not really worried by that. Okay. Sweet. SMCI, sell the news, says Hans. Okay. I have no position on SMCI. I'm not a fan of anything that has accounting issues. I generally steer clear. I know we've actually had a number of traders from the Benzinga ecosystem that have done a really good job. Big Bees, you've done a really, really good job here with SMCI. And made a lot of money off of it. I generally just stay away from stuff like this. I'm in for the fireworks. Give me some popcorn. I want to watch what happens, but I don't think I need to play this. There's other stuff that we need to do. Danger Boy saying, NVIDIA up or down? We got one more day, boss. NVIDIA reports earnings tomorrow. We discuss NVIDIA every single day. I guarantee we won't stop discussing it for this print. So no worries there. Okay. So vote in our poll. Let us know what you think here on SMCI. Okay. HIMS, HERS. We got Home Depot. We got TEM. And then we have Nike. And we're still waiting for Derrick from T3. Let me just mention in the chat that that's not here yet. Okay. Good. Everything looks all right here. Okay, sweet. So let's do Home Depot next. They reported earnings. Let's see how they're doing. They've actually turned green here. When I woke up, Home Depot was down off that earnings print. Looks like it's gone green here. Looks like we had week 2025 guidance. I wonder if that's on remodeling. I wonder if that's what the concerns are here. Home Depot. Anyway, GAAP EPS 302 beat the 299 estimate. Sales of 39.7 billion beat the 39.14 billion estimate. Raises the quarterly dividend to 230 a share. Comp sales up 0.8 versus up 1.3%. The light there. They offered a cautious outlook, 7.6% growth in customer transaction. Comps turned positive. Home Depot falls to support the housing market may not improve, and Lowe's moved with that. Okay, so looks like that is Home Depot kind of citing the weak housing market there, which we kind of thought it would. So we'll see where Home Depot ends up here. Let's take a quick look at ticker LOW and see if that did the same thing here as Home Depot. Indeed, it looks like it followed Home Depot here. This actually reports earnings tomorrow morning. So we'll see what kind of performance we get from Lowe's here today. Okay, folks, it is 8:30. Actually, it's a couple of minutes past 8:30, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go to our guest here. Welcome, Derrick from T3. Let's bring him on. All right. Good morning, Derrick. How are you doing here today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. We're watching some of these earnings come out here, waiting on NVIDIA, really is what it feels like. But we got a market here that's pulling back. So, first question that I have for you, what do you have on the list of watches right now?
Sure. So I always take a big picture down a small picture approach. And my big picture thought process right now is definitely not bullish. I'll start by saying that.
Yeah.
I've actually had a bearish thought process for a little while, but I thought we had to get to around OPEX in order for that to trigger. And lo and behold, Friday, OPEX day, it began to trigger. I actually found myself, just a week ago, we were making all-time highs, and I found myself net short in a market that was breaking out, which was a little bit scary, but kind of had the fundamental thesis that we were actually going to have a failed breakout, which would cause us to break lower. That obviously happened. So 2 big down days in a row. Today is day 3. At one point this morning, we were gapping down. Now we bounced off pre-market lows, so we're up small. While my thought process right now is still kind of bearish on the big picture, there will be tactical times for long opportunities. I mean, I remember in 2022 when we had that bear market, some of the best trades I had throughout that bear market are actually to the long side, because when you have more bearish type markets, not that we're anywhere close to a bear market yet, but when you have more bearish type markets, that's actually when a lot of the fastest up moves actually occur throughout history. So you can find good opportunities for tactical longs. And I think that into like a day 3 down, especially a little earlier this morning when we were first at the gap down, you can be looking for some good bounce back opportunities in some stocks that are overextended or some stocks that have news. Like I have Reddit on my watch list for a long. We actually called that one out yesterday. I have TTD on my watch list for a long. We called that one out yesterday. For today, I've got PayPal on my list for a long. They reaffirmed their fiscal year 25 guidance this morning ahead of expectations, and the stock is trading well. I've got Amazon on my list for a potential bounce back trade today. At the same time, I covered my MSTR short into the gap down this morning because that's been a pretty big move. So into like a day 3, day 4 down, when we begin to extend to the downside, that's when I want to look to be covering some of my shorts, putting on some short-term tactical longs. But personally, I think that any bounce here is short-lived unless NVIDIA does something incredible. NVIDIA has the power right now to change the theme of this market if they put out another incredible earnings report, and you can never count them out from doing that because they've done it so many times in the past. With that said, like always, it seems like NVIDIA's expectations are so high, or the market's expectations for NVIDIA are so high, that if you see just an inline report or God forbid a miss, that will actually probably further continue the overall weakness on this market that we've started to see.
Yeah, and that's kind of the exact same position we've been thinking about here on NVIDIA, right? Like, not only do they have to beat, but they really have to beat, quote, enough for it to really kind of feel like it's going to keep moving up here. NVIDIA clearly in a down channel. We're not that far away from the 200-day moving average. And honestly, I'd like some reset valuations in some of these high flyers. You know, you were just talking there about tactical longs, which I absolutely love. I totally agree with you. When we find ourselves, maybe not even in a bear market, but if the tape is bearish itself, sometimes you'll get really violent up moves. And if you can capture those can be really great trades. How do you when you have one of those on your hands, let's say you're already in it, you've got the entry down, how do you then determine what your exit is going to be? Are you looking at price action? Are you looking at a specific level, some type of indicator? What's telling you that the end is near and you need to take the gains off the table?
Sure. So first of all, whenever it comes to game planning for reward maximization, the first question I have to ask myself is, what type of trade am I actually in? Am I in a breakout trend continuation trade, or am I in kind of what we just described, which is, hey, we got like a day 3, day 4 down. I want to look for a tactical bounce trade, in which case I'm going to have a much more shallow reward target. So for me, the way that I like to study markets is through a concept that I call technical equilibrium. I consider the technical equilibrium zone for any stock on any time frame to be the space between the 8 and 21 EMA. So if I'm looking at a market, like for example, the Qs this morning were about $10 below the QQQ ETF, about $10 below their 8 EMA on the daily, or at least they were pre-market lows this morning. I'd be looking for a bounce back trade on the Qs if that's what I chose to buy, to about the 8 EMA on the daily chart, which would represent in a down market the lower band of equilibrium. And it could overshoot that. It could get to some in the 8 and 21 EMA. It could shoot to as much as even the 21 EMA. Again, we saw a lot of examples of that back in 2022's bear market, where the market would get extremely downside extended. Then we'd have these face ripping rallies that would bring you sometimes all the way through the 21 EMA before the market peaked out, and then we rolled down and created a new low in our bear market. So on a counter trend tactical long setup, I'm basically just looking for a snapback to what I consider to be the equilibrium zone for the stock that I'm trading.
Okay, awesome. We are here with Derrick Oldensmith from T3. Trade with Derrick for free in his Pro Desk virtual trading floor from February 25th to February 28th. QR code is on the screen. Link is in the chat there. Okay, I got a really quick question. Do you trade or follow Bitcoin at all?
I mentioned this morning that I was short MSTR, which I covered. So I'm out of that position. And if you're trading MSTR, you better well be following Bitcoin. So I've been looking at the IBIT 53 level, and I've been looking at for BTC spot, like 93,000 area. I had read an analyst note a couple weeks back that if Bitcoin were to break 93,000, it would force selling from some levered folks that are out there. So 93,000 is really important. 90,000 is really important. And again, that 93,000 level more or less coincided with that IBIT 53, which was holding us some support. So we lost that yesterday. We're getting continuation this morning. MSTR has been, one of my favorite shorts. I was short from 330. My target was the mid 260s. So again, I got out of that position this morning and starting to extend down. It's something that I'm definitely interested in reshorting into any sort of real bounce back. I'm just not a believer in MicroStrategy at all, or the way the company is structured.
Okay, awesome. And that's actually really good stuff there on that Bitcoin, because we did actually see it lose 92 and 90,000 overnight. I think it got as low as 86,000 here today. So I wonder if some of those levered traders are ended up ditching it there. Interesting stuff there. Okay. And then I had another question here about some of the momentum stocks that we've seen recently. I can't remember if did you trade any of those quantum names? Did you do really well with those names?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my question then. With it seems like the Momo is kind of drying up here. You did a really good job covering NVIDIA and what that might mean for the rest of the market. Are you going back to any of these quantum names? Do you think any of these names might provide some of that bounce that you were talking about earlier? Might these be good targets for short-term tactical long trades?
So the quantum names are not my favorite things to go after, even into downside extension. I had actually taken them long, like this RGTI I took long on January 13th, because the downside extension on that was just really, really extreme for that similar bounce back trade. And I was able to make a few dollars for myself there. I don't believe in these companies that aren't even really producing much revenue yet. If I was going to look for these types of growth stocks for long trades, I would rather be looking at a Robinhood or a Reddit or the Trade Desk or something that I think has a little bit more substance to it and has more short-term growth ability. The quantum stocks, I actually tried to buy a couple of these just the other day when this QBTS was attempting to break out, and it gave a false breakout. So I pretty quickly stopped myself out on the trade, and I ended up being break even or maybe losing a few dollars on it. So I would try to buy those for upside momentum. But what I was saying, even when I was buying QBTS a few days ago, when I tried to break out on the daily chart, is I'm buying this, but really I'm hoping it gets to $9, $10, not just so I can make a few dollars on the long side, so so that I can short it there, because I think that's where the meat of the trade really would be back on the short side. So quantum is an avoid for me right now until we see that sector wake up a little bit more. It's just become kind of too tight and choppy. And I remember back in January telling my team, like, guys, we had a great trade in these quantum names. If you caught it, great, congratulations. But more importantly, if you didn't catch it, don't force the trade now. A very common mistake I see, especially with newer traders, is they see the people around them make so much money in whatever trade it is, whatever opportunity it is, and they go, oh my God, I missed that opportunity. Now I'm going to get involved. and then they get involved as soon as that there is no opportunity. It's already gone. The trade is gone. And then you can see with, QBTS, RGTI, all those names, they've just been super choppy for the last month and a half or so. And if you're trying to force trades and chop when that opportunity isn't there anymore because you saw other people make money, that's a recipe to not only not make money, but to actually lose money. And then you're extra frustrated because you were like, oh man, not only did everybody make money in RGCI,
how did I
but
lose?
I lost
How did I lose on a stock that everyone else made money on? Absolutely. That's really, really good stuff. I'm super glad that you mentioned that. We talk a lot about FOMO and chasing and how to avoid all of that stuff. And you really just hit it on the head there. Okay. I wanted to, if it's okay, I wanted to dive in a little bit more into the specifics of your Reddit trade. I know, at least for me, this is one that I was just totally off sides. I am not a Redditor at all. I think the thing itself is silly. I'm not really sure how the stock is up here, but nonetheless, school me on Reddit. What levels are you looking for? And I guess what type of price action are you looking for? What's the game plan here on Reddit?
Sure. So I just think that Reddit has just a massive amount of growth potential, broadly speaking. And you could argue that when it was at $230, it was overpriced. So I remember trading this alongside pretty aggressively several times initially post IPO when it was a $40, $50, $60 stock and doing really well with it. And then at a certain point into this up move, which almost turned parabolic, the stock just kind of lost me. It was too far, too fast. And while I think that the company has a tremendous amount of growth potential, it is just, it's not, I don't believe in chasing price. Chasing price just doesn't set you up for good risk reward. But now the stock has pulled back from 230 to yesterday $155 or so on an earnings report that was generally speaking really good, but they didn't like the fact that the user growth had slowed down a little bit, but that was specifically because of a change in Google search algorithm, which my understanding they've already found a way to make up for that. So the bigger picture thought process for me is that this is a company. I mean, think about what Meta's been able to do with their users. So the question has always been: is Reddit a Snap or is Reddit a Meta, or is it potentially somewhere in between? And I'm of the opinion that unlike Snap, which has a very specific user base catered towards very young people, and then there's all types of advertising issues when you're dealing with young people, and it's really more of a chat app than a social media app. Reddit, I think, has the capacity to be much more like a Meta when you think about advertising and you think about the ways that different businesses that they can move into. And I think that there's a real chance that Reddit actually becomes one of the big winners in podcasting eventually, even though it hasn't even breached into that space yet. But just imagine you're going into Reddit. Why are most people going into Reddit anyway? Because they want to see some degree of like user combined knowledge. Well, now all of a sudden, if you have your Reddit podcasts that are coming in that are also for a specific topic, and they can link to that, and Reddit's getting all the revenue for that. There's just a lot of potential levers I think that they can pull to grow into a tremendous amount of profitability over time based on a massive amount of users. And I'll be honest, until somewhat recently, I was never a major Reddit user either, but I have enough friends who are constantly sending me links of, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. Hey, check that out. Where even as someone who was never really going to Reddit myself, I'm just getting enough friends sending me links that I'm just clicking on where I'm almost like a daily active user myself. And then that actually became the starting point for me to start to follow different subreddits a little bit more and start to look into things a little bit more. So that's kind of my qualitative fundamental thought process, which is something I like to have, but then it needs to be confirmed by technicals. So when I'm looking at growth stocks broadly beginning to get crushed, as we saw Palantir begin to get crushed, which is also an extremely expensive stock, and you see Reddit and a bunch of these names getting hit back down. Well, now I'm looking at a stock that's dived from 230 down to 155, and yesterday it was like that day 3 to the downside where it can give that RDR setup. I know you've had Scott Redler on the show in the past, where that day 3 RDR setup kind of came in yesterday as a potential long. The only thing that's holding me back from being aggressive on a trade like that right now is that I'm still not big picture bullish on the actual index for the SPYs and the Qs. So it's having me still be a little bit cautious on really initiating any new major long positions right now, because I kind of wait till I'm a little bit more confident for the market to settle out. But like this then circles back to what we were saying earlier. you can still look for some of these tactical longs if you're quick with them to make a few dollars for yourself. That could be buying Reddit at 157, getting a bounce back to 172, liquidating the position, market sells off, Reddit leads to a new low specifically because the market's selling, and then you get your next setup to come in. And then if that is then happening closer to a bigger picture market bottom, then there's your really meaty trade. So that's kind of what I'm really waiting for right now to some degree with some of the longs that I want to be involved in, is to get more confidence that the market's giving at least some sort of shorter term, more capitulation style bottom, and I don't think that we're there yet. And then I really want to come in and grab some of these names on setups with a little bit more size, and look for a larger reward profile than just a simple snap back to the equilibrium zone.
Okay, really good breakdown there on Reddit. Folks, this is Derrick Oldensmith from T3. You can trade with Derrick for free in his Pro Desk virtual trading floor, February 25th, today through February 28th. QR code there on the screen. Derrick, is there anything else that you have before we adjourn here for the day? Any other stock you want to mention or take a look at?
I think that mainly covers it on my end. Like I said, I'm really macro focused, and while we could get a short-term bounce here today, tomorrow, I think it would actually make sense to see that. Unless NVIDIA really pulls a rabbit out of its hat, I think that this market is still setting up for lower prices. So know your major index level support levels. So 590 is important with the SPYs, but 580 is the huge level. And for the Qs, 510 is the huge level that you really need to pay attention to. And the IWM, it actually lost 218 yesterday, which is a super important level. That just leaves the low of the year, which is down at basically 214, or just a couple of dollars away from that. So know your key index levels. Understand that markets work in periods of feedback cycles over time. We're currently in a feedback cycle where selling leads to more selling, unless some sort of event like NVIDIA can actually come out and actually save things. And into a real decline at a certain point, show me a 5 to 10% down move here. Show me SPYs getting to somewhere between like 580 and the 200-day at 570, or even a little bit below that. Then that's kind of the area I'm looking at for some real bigger picture buys at this point, unless the evidence changes.
Okay. Derrick, that is awesome. Derrick Oldensmith from T3. Again, hit that QR code on the screen here. Derrick, thanks so much for breaking this down. Real good stuff. We'll catch up with you next time. All right.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. Talk to you soon.
Anytime. Have a good one here today. That is Derrick Oldensmith from T3. We're lucky to have all those T3 guys here. They are aces. Again, if you need some help or you want to trade with Derrick and what he was saying is ringing a bell there, scan that QR code and check it out. Really good breakdown there on Reddit too. I like that. And that podcast angle that he discussed, that is interesting to me. I didn't even think about that. Wild stuff. Okay, Derrick's departure leaves room for ya boy 13. Let's bring him on and see how he's doing. 13, did you like that one?
Yeah, boy.
I thought you might like that. Good morning, man. How you doing?
Your boy's doing fine. How is everybody else doing this morning? Sorry, I don't have a whole lot of movers to go through, even though the list is pretty long. I was a little overwhelmed with kind of choosing which way to go with these. But we can certainly talk about some of the ones that I was looking at.
Let's do that. I'll tell you what, we actually got a request here. Diamond Hotline wanted us to break down some of these movers a little bit earlier. Okay. I don't necessarily want to do that ahead of the news, especially, but we did take a look at one of the movers that was going here. So I guess we should start with this one. It's going to be ONVO. It's the one that's at the top of the list right now. And I lost my settings here. I'll go ahead and fix that when I turn that over to 13 here real quick. Again, just for those of you that might be joining a little bit later here, I know we discussed it a little bit already, but Organovo shares are trading higher after the company announced that Eli Lilly is set to acquire at the FXR program, including one of the drugs or the therapeutics here, FXR 314. So I actually did skim through that PR earlier, 13. I didn't see any mention of a price. Looks like this is just kind of one arm of this particular business or one drug. What do you got going on this one?
Yeah, the FXR program is just a part of what ONVO is researching right now. Their drug specifically for IBD is FXR 314, and that's currently in phase 2. So Eli Lilly is going to be picking this up in the current clinical trial, and they're going to be adding it to their repertoire of drugs. So That's the big news, and you're right. There wasn't any price attached to that. The financial terms were not disclosed, so the move you're seeing is pretty speculative. They're just setting this thing up. Now they do have 17 million shares in the float. ONVO does, and there has been some recent interesting news. For example, they just brought on a new CFO, and they in the midst of all that, they also delayed their 10Q filing. Which, I maybe that has something to do with the new CFO. I didn't get that far, but that was a couple of things that was helping pull it down until we got this news today. Now, the company does need cash, so this sale is likely what they're going to need. So Steve is saying that the SEC filing says 10 million with potential milestone payments of up to 50 million. So that's great. I didn't get that far. So they are, let's see. So with that in mind, let's take a look and see here what we have for the float. Hold on a second. And the cap. All right. So that's going to be more than so at least twice. We should see at least a 2x move here with this one. And this was trading at about 40 cents before the move up. So this could be considered overdone based on their market cap, but this thing I'm sure is just going to continue to push higher after it starts to cool off a little bit here. What we don't want to see if we're going to trade this today is it to go under $1. I think it will start to get weaker if that happens. So as far as levels go with this one, and I think this may have been one we've traded before.
Yeah, definitely. ONVO is what this is definitely one that's been off the scanner here in the past.
Yeah.
And this wasn't always a penny stock too. I feel like we traded this back here when back in 2023, maybe even 2024. Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
Maybe even 2022. So I've got levels that I marked off from back then. So we were not up to those levels quite yet. I mean, one of the earliest levels I have was 174 back when I marked them off there. But we're about 45 cents away from that. So what we would want to see is a recapture of 140 at least. We don't want to see it go, like I said, we don't want to see it go under $1, but it looks like 115 also might be an important support area as well. If we lose that, then it looks like under $1 we go. So if this is how we're going to see, have this trade into the open where this comes in, let it come in. Hopefully it'll provide a setup, and then we can try trading this. But so far, that's all I've got for FXR. Thanks, Steve, for the mention on the SEC filing. And that's ONVO for you.
Sweet. We'll see if we get a support there at VWAP. I agree with you. 120 here at VWAP. Look like some pretty decent supports. Okay, next one that I have here, or at least next on the list here, is FMTO. I didn't have any news earlier when I checked. I still don't have any fresh news here. Looks like this was an IPO from the end of January here with a micro float, 647K shares in the float. That's what we have here. Looks like we had 2 million shares trade really early on. Stocks traded 19 million here in the pre-market. Stocks up 120% here. Integrated software companies. So let's take a look here. Short interest, 1.51%. Again, recent IPO. It's kind of crazy that it has that already. Really nothing squeezy there. But the low float, I think what do you think what's going on here? FMTO.
So new IPO, like you said, very low float, 647,000 shares. No news that it's moving on. But we mentioned this. I think we mentioned this last week when we were talking about Nike and their push into women's athletic wear. I think we're seeing a theme, a women's wellness theme, and that's basically what this company is about. Because if you go to their website, you can see that they're really pushing this whole. We're using AI to promote women's wellness. So I think this could be an emerging theme because this is not the first stock we've seen that is kind of centered around that. We're starting to see Nike move into that women's athletic wear space. I can't remember the company that we were talking about. I think it was last week, but they were it was very much in this realm of women's wellness. So I'm a little bit interested in this as a theme. This could be something that we're seeing here. And it's the only explanation I have for why this could be moving on no news. But we have seen other companies similar to this in that same theme move up on basically nothing. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to and looking for are companies that are kind of designed around women's health.
Good stuff there. FMTO. Let me make sure I got that ticker right there. Let's go back to Pro here. Did you have any levels carved out for this one yet?
You know what? I don't think I did, but I'll tell you what. I'll have them for you.
No problem. I mean, I'm just going to eyeball some of them right here, and we might as well throw some of these trend lines. I tell you what, these trend lines and channels that we've been identifying have served us well here. Yeah. Here is one of the trend lines that we've set here in the pre-market. As long as we want to see some more bullish action here, I definitely want to stay above that. Got the VWAP here at 797. Sure looks to me like this could really make a run at even $10 here. I guess 9 would be the first one. With a float this small, I feel like the fireworks could be huge on this one here today.
Well, one thing that I can point is if you look at a daily chart and you see where the price is right now, we are this consolidation from August, January. This whole consolidation, this sideways price action that we're in, we move out, potentially start moving. Maybe even get into digits. So let's see this get out of over 850. That might be the start of the move out of that consolidation to, like, let's say 950. Then we could really see this start to move.
All right, good stuff there. FMTO. Real quickly here, you versus you. Were you saying this was a ticker change from BCAN? Are we getting that right? FMTO used to be BCAN, and we have a ticker change here.
So would this mean that it's a?
I don't know. I'm asking. I'm asking if that's the case. Don't follow this one. Sorry, I'm trying to go through some of the chat here real quick. Looks like it's a little bit delayed here as well. Wiss, I was wondering the same thing. 13 was breaking up a little bit there. It seemed like an internet issue there. Not anything else. Maybe it just kind of will fix itself. And then one more question here. Conditionally accepted said insider ownership on FMTO. I don't think I had a reading on that. I don't have a reading on that. Sorry. Don't know offhand. Don't really have any insider data on that. So, okay, let's keep moving here. The next one, this one, I actually have traded this before years ago. This thing was low float when I traded it before. Yep, 1.24 million shares in the float. Guess what? It's still low float. This is, of course, WAFU, if you want to call it WAFU, WAFU, whatever. WAFU here. Yesterday after the close, WAFU Education Group shares are trading higher after the company announced it will integrate DeepSeek. Here we go, to drive AI-based education, innovation, and long-term growth strategies. You can see we did pop in the after hours. We actually popped again here this morning, and we've had two kind of voluminous areas, or areas where the volume really kind of increased. We are sitting right beneath the VWAP, and we're kind of holding this a little bit higher than 3 here. 3 definitely going to be one of the downside levels, but it looks like we've done a really good job holding 306 here in the pre-market. I would not be surprised if this makes a move to and then eventually through that VWAP there at 350. Let's take a quick look at the short interest here. See what we got. 2.93% of the float shorted, so not a whole lot. Only 1 day to cover there. As mentioned, a really low 1.24 million share float. What you got here? WAFU 13. And I wasn't saying FU. I was just reading the ticker.
I got you. So it looks like the daily chart. It seems like to put in a bit of a bearish pattern, getting above the 500-day SMA, and then all of a sudden we had today happen. So apparently, as long as you're still working with DeepSeek or maybe even OpenAI or whatever the situation is, going to move stocks up. As far as I on the technicals here, this one. No real read on their income. It says that they have 11 million in cash. I think I would just be looking towards my daily and my 5-minute chart here. Like you said, we're coming back up to test that, and does need to start closing underneath it if we're going to push up through over 4 again. It seems like that's also the big one of the big levels to get through. 395, 396. Only making it over 4 once this morning. Through VWAP here, that will be the big to look for the price to close over is 4. And if we hold above that, then this thing may even start to move up even more. Let's see what levels I have here.
While you're doing that, David here, I actually don't remember this, but this definitely checks out as something that we would have said. Wafu seems like I remember the last time you were trading this, you stated you should avoid tickers with FU in the name.
That's a good one. And you know what? But maybe we should just move on to the next one if that's the case, because I think that's a good.
I was going to say I've traded this one before. It's really just kind of the low float name. So I'm with you there on the technicals. We'll see if we make it through 350 here.
Yeah, I'll say that if we do get through 350, capture 4, that I would be looking more towards 5 resistance level if we can get above 4.
Good stuff there. WAFU. Next one here is going to be Brea. This one, I know we've traded this before. We actually made a joke about that show, La Brea, too, I think, the last time that we traded this one. Anyway, this did pop here yesterday after the close. Barrera, I'm sure I can't pronounce this right. That's why I always pronounce the ticker. Brea here, we'll go with that. Holdings expands commitment to Mozambique with a letter of intent to invest in Makalama 2024. I probably completely butchered that. I'll try and say it again here. Mokabioa. How do you pronounce the C with the little tail on that? Anyway, not up on that. This is what's going on here. Stock is up 74% here today. Quick look around the horn. Short interest checking in at 1.86% with 2 days to cover. And the only reason that's the case is because on average, the stock trades less than 1 million shares. Today, we've traded over 34.5 million shares. The float on this stock's only 4.7 million. What do you got on this one? It's trying its best to hold on to the dollar price tag here.
Not one that I took a look at this, but the news, of course, was after the market already closed. Let me just take a look. I think this is just another one where it doesn't really matter about because I don't really have a good on them.
And as far as the technicals go, 13, I mean, this thing popped this morning. It came back in. It bounced off the $1 level. It consolidated right around that $1 level yesterday. To me, this is going to be a key level here. I'm real simple when it comes to some of these. If this thing breaks $1, I'm not going to even mess with this thing. If we actually show some strength here and we have pretty enticing volume, we're able to actually recapture, maybe even build above that VWAP, perhaps the scenario will change. But looking at this, at least on the surface here, this is probably a pass given some of the other setups that we have going on. That's my take.
Yeah, this is something we traded. This is something we traded a long time ago, back in like 2023. 2024. Haven't really seen it since then. But dollar looks like could have levels at 70. It looks pretty good. So does I guess $2. So 170, $2, 225 on the way up to
13. Your mic is definitely cutting in and out. I think maybe even a rejoin on Restream might fix that. Yeah, give it a shot.
Okay,
give it a shot. We'll see if it works. I'd rather we try things, frankly, before the open than during the open. So might as well see. We'll give that a shot. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Wiss, for mentioning that. We'll see if it's not. It's Mike. It actually sounds like it's his internet connection, to be quite honest with you. You guys are mentioning SMCI. I know we're waiting on that report. I do see it moving here. Unsure if there's any news. Let's take a look here together. Oops, I clicked on the wrong tab. My bad. No, doesn't look like it's out here yet, which was interesting, though, because we saw this move up and it did it on volume, and now it's completely retraced that. Actually, it looks like it went green to red, at least from that consolidation area. But it's not out yet, right? We are expecting that here today. We're going to know if they hit this or if they miss this. But not out yet here. SMCI unable to hang on to 50 here. I guess it's trying to recapture it. So we'll see. But I don't see that report going out yet. I actually didn't see anything come across the Twitter streets either. So I don't think I missed it.
How do I sound?
Actually, that sentence sounded fine. We'll see if that holds up. Sounded like you were in the room with me. So, okay. SMCI, I'm sure we'll keep an eye on this. Let me keep rolling through the movers list here. ADIL is going to be next, and it looks like this is pumping. Boy, did this just happen? When did this piece of news come out? I didn't have this on my early list. Benzinga's news desk doing an exclusive here. We actually had some news out before the PR, which came out 6 minutes ago. So shout out to anyone in the Benzinga ecosystem following some of these movers here. Anyway, ADIL Pharmaceutical receives positive response from the FDA meeting regarding the proposed in vitro bridging strategy for AD04. Let's go through some of these exclusive comments here. Edel Pharmaceuticals tells Benzinga receives response from the FDA. I just read that one. Tells Benzinga feedback confirms feedback confirms Adial's proposed in vitro bridging strategy to the phase 3 formulation to fulfill the bridging requirement for one of the regulatory outlines. It moves forward with manufacturing of clinical supplies for the upcoming phase 3 program. So it looks like they are advancing to phase 3 as this is one of its lead candidates for alcohol disorder. Let's do a quick look around the horn here. Stocks up 77% here. Just about 1% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Really kind of nothing there. Float 6.35 million. So there you go. What do you think here? ADIL. This is another one that I know we've traded before. I just can't pinpoint when it was.
It was last year. Had to have been. Probably, I would say, at the earliest. So, I mean, I have levels going higher than this, but let's see if we can even hit some of these. Right now, we're at 140. That's still beneath the earliest one I have at 140, 145 does seem to be right now. Let me see what
I'm looking at too. I'll be honest, 13, I'm looking at this on the daily, and it seems like every dollar, every round number is a support level or a former, excuse me, it's either a former resistance or support level here. $2 looks like one. $3 looks like one. We actually have some wicks here that end at $3. $4 looks like one. $6 looks like one. $5 looks like it was a previous support and resistance. Interesting.
130 looks like we just lost. That's a pretty important area right now too. We need to capture that if we're going to have any kind of anything to trade. If we do recapture that, then you got 145. You got some like incremental levels all the way up to before I start to have some of these other past trading kick in here. But let's see it to 30 or back to 130. That'd be the thing.
Okay. And it looks like we're flirting here with the VWAP. We'll see if we end up losing that. That volume has turned to selling volume, so be careful on that one. See if we break that 150, 140 level. Okay. 130 big on the daily or it's dead. There you go. You versus you. I love it when it's simple. I love it when it's simple like that. We'll see if that ends up holding up here. Okay. Did you have any more on the list or on your list? Or should I just keep rolling down the list here?
We can just keep rolling down. There's only a few that I took a look at
and
today.
this really wasn't this really wasn't great. So MBRX, this is up because they released a Form RW. It looks like they're not going ahead with the offering. Did I get that right? Let's see here.
Well, that'd be nice.
Pretty sure.
Not to losing their shares.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So anyway, stock's up 45% here. Quick look around the horn at some of the stats for this stock. Got 5.28% of the float shorted here with 6 days to cover. That's got to be because of the average volume. On average, trades 4.5 million. Today we traded just shy of 19 million. Looks like we're going to break that. Floats for just over 4 million. So okay, there you go. What do you got on this one?
MBRX. Sorry, it's not it.
No, it's okay. If you got nothing, I can move on to.
No, I was out for the movers. Oh, geez, this has a bearish looking pattern here on the. Look at this pre-market. This to me looks like it's going to end up going lower, but it still has this to turn this but this looks like a head and shoulders pattern that we have. Say if we lose the 200 EMA, this thing is probably this rounded off. That's what I'd be watching for with this.
All right, 13. Your microphone is totally jacked, dude. It definitely sounds like an internet issue there. So, all right, give it a shot. We do have 15 minutes till we open here. I will run through a couple more of these while 13 tries and adjust some of his stuff here. SLXN, this is another one. This is Selexion Therapeutics. This does have some news here this morning. Selexion Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced the completion of its initial study in orthotopic pancreatic cancer models evaluating systemic administration of SIL 204. So this was a penny stock yesterday. Looks like we popped above 120. Looks like 130 was the highest, or we tried to go there, or tried to get to 130. Couldn't quite get there. Excuse me. 44.94% of the float shorted here. That was as of the most recent read, but only 1 day to cover. So I guess maybe there's some squeeze potential in here. On average, stock trades 11 million shares. We've traded over that here this morning by a little bit, just about 13.5 million. Floats 8 million. So maybe we get something here on SLXN. I know that this is one that we've traded before. Yeah, Anthony, this does look familiar. I'm pretty sure we've traded this one here before. 13 is also jumping around on the video, so it's not just his mic. Might just need a restart on the computer, honestly. We'll see. We will see. 13 is no stranger to tech issues. He will be able to fix it. We'll see how it's going. And honestly, I don't have a lot here on the movers list. I know Li Auto, they released a new vehicle, didn't they? I clicked on the wrong tab again. Yeah, first EV SUV. So it looks like that's why Li Auto, ticker LI, is up here today. We'll see if that makes a difference. Anyway, what do you folks want to take a look at? We can start ticker time right now. You're saying ONDS. Did we get news? I did see it was trading up here. Let's see if we did get some more news here. That would be great. Last time we had news here, it did not respond all that well. Ondas and Volatus Aerospace forged strategic partnership to elevate border surveillance. Yeah, so definitely thought that we were going to get some more PR here about border security. I'm actually not familiar with the other companies, so that's what I'm going to put on my docket here for homework. Strategic partnership to market American Robotics Optimus drone system for enhanced border surveillance. You should see more of this. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm expecting to see more headlines like this. So another strategic partnership here. This did cause Ondas to pop earlier. Tell you what, it needs a lot more than that. This thing's really kind of been crummy with some of the recent moves here. So we'll see if this makes a difference. Stock almost round tripping off that huge move higher. We are expecting a lot of news flow here in 2025. I guess this is a good start. But let me look into that company. I'll have some more for you when I look into that a little bit more. But yeah, good, sweet. The other thing, I almost can't believe I had to pinch myself to make sure that this was real life. Couldn't believe it, but Portillo's reported earnings here, and looks like they're actually trading up too. So I'm interested to see what we get out of the conference call there. Some mixed results on Portillo's, but it looks like that is trading higher here today. So giddy up. We have the makings of a fairly decent day here today. But I'm curious, what stocks do you want to take a look at here this morning? Good morning, Ivan. Good morning, Zippity. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Carmen. Izzy, obviously. LEU from Jay. Not a surprise there. See what we got here. LEU, that's some price target at Wainwright this morning. Price target Jay's referring to is 300. The one thing I will say here is be careful with those Wainwright price targets. We've taken a look at a lot of the stocks that Wainwright put price targets out at. They seem pumpy at best, right? They seem just totally elevated. But good mention here. Stock is up 5% here. We'll see if we can retake 100 here on LEU. Sorry about that. Well, maybe I'm having some internet issues too, because it does seem like we're loading a little bit slowly here. Here is your LEU. We're currently on a pullback. Jay, let me ask you, you've been you've been on this one for a while. You think we have any chance at taking out the highs here at 120? That'd be interesting. All right, let's check in with 13 and see if we got those gremlins ironed out there. How you doing? Looks like you're okay. So, I think he just froze. Yep, you just froze there a little bit. Say something. Oh, man, we got no sound now. Somehow it got worse. 13, I am sorry, bro. I have no idea what's going on here, but we can't hear you at all. All right, Jay Rice saying Wainwright is trash. Jay Rice telling us, telling it how it is. Okay, let me see if I can get Aaron. I can't help you, 13. I'm going to have to get Aaron. Okay. And we will take care of that. We'll get 13 back here as soon as we can. Okay, so Jay, regarding my question, not for a while. All right, so you don't think that this 120 area is necessarily going to crack for a while. We should have some time. Okay, let me go back and start taking some looks at some stocks here. Well, I tell you what, I ask for one, and you guys end up giving me 6 or 7. Motion, is the market crashing? Thankfully, not yet. It doesn't seem like it is yet here. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. Hopefully you are doing well here this morning. Let's see. I think you guys just gave me some. NNOX. Good morning, Virgo. NNOX. NNOX. Haven't taken a look at that, I feel like, in forever. Nano Imaging. This right back down to that 6 level. This is not one that I followed. Did they have an AI angle, Virgo? This is some fresh news here today. Nanox Arc Imaging Systems receives CE mark, expanding medical imaging offering in the European market. Does this have I was wondering if this was part of like the AI theme, scanning through different X-rays to try and identify things. That might have been a different one. No, it doesn't look like it, or at least it doesn't say it here. In the PR. Nonetheless, this is actually a pretty decent pop here, up 9%. Let's take a look at the chart. 13, you there? Got no audio again. Boy, oh boy. Okay, NNOX here. Nice little rip here in the pre-market. This is trading up here. Sorry, Virgo. I don't know. I don't really follow this one. This actually looks pretty good though. The business of manufacturing demonstrated notable revenue growth. All right, let's take a look and see where we can go on the daily. There we go. I hear you.
Restream changed the type of microphone I'm using, so had to change that back.
You actually, anyway, I think this microphone sounds better.
This is the same microphone.
Oh, nope, and there it is. There's the breakup. Boy, you got something going on. There's.
It's not.
Yeah, I know.
Not my end. I tell you right now, not my end.
Okay. Well, we'll do the best we can. Okay. NNOX, it's got some news here today. Really? Yeah. Okay. That's for you. Okay. Sorry, guys. Doing tech diagnosis here while we're trying to also get ready. Not the easiest thing in the world, as you can see. So sorry about that, Virgo. Anyway, to get back to NNOX here, looks like this did come into that $6 support level. I'm not sure what the news, how good that news actually is, but I think as long as you hold 6, you're probably in good shape. Lion here saying NNOX is a great company. Okay. NNOX loses this level. It's going to 459. There you go. So looks like that's going to be what, right down here. Isn't that one of the lows? 59. No, I guess it's a little bit lower than that. Anyway, sorry, I don't have more for you on NNOX. Call your service provider. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he wants to do in the middle of the show. Okay. What other stocks do you want to take a look at? Good morning, Amanda. Didn't you guys throw out some more stocks here? I could have sworn. Jay, you're mentioning that HIMS and BTC have the same crowd in them. Yeah, it's definitely those Momo players. I would also throw Reddit in there. I'd throw the quantum names in there. I think you could lump a lot of stuff. in there, to be quite honest with you. And they're moving together. Can we talk SPY levels for a second? Yeah, we always start with SPY levels here on that show, FYI, which is why we haven't covered them. But yeah, we absolutely can here. Let me go back to my chart here and let me bring up the SPY, and I'll show you that the couple of levels that we were looking at here today. Oh my God, why is everything so laggy today? Holy cow. All right, here are the levels that we're looking at. The big one or the one that's recently come into play here has been that 50-day moving average. We gave up that 50-day moving average yesterday. Can we recapture that here today is going to be one of the big questions there. That level's at 598.88. So definitely within reach here. Some more levels beneath to keep in mind if we do move down here. We have that 100-day at about 593. I've actually got that marked off here at 592.93. And then we have the 582.30. That also represents the 5% pullback level. That's been a previous resistance area that's now turned support and also represents a 5% pullback from all-time highs. The 200-day is down there at 569, and that 10% pullback level, which we'd like to see for a correction and valuation reset down here, 552-ish. 552-ish. Jonathan saying, Bloomberg, we're talking about the consumer confidence having a lot of weight today. That's out on the hour. You know, we go back and forth on that consumer confidence. I'd be happy to read that number when it comes out. But we go back and forth on whether or not that number carries a lot of weight, it seems. Seems like it's kind of selective, to be honest. Okay. Let's see. D-Nut, the fat drugs killed it. Yeah, that I can totally understand that. That's actually something that we've been discussing. There are some other companies that might experience poor performance because of the fat drugs. Fast food is always thrown in there. Even Mondelez has got thrown into that discussion. But Krispy Kremes here are heart attack rings, as they're affectionately called. I can definitely see that being the case here. Krispy Kreme shares trading lower after the company reported worse than expected Q4 earnings and issued weak FY25 guidance. The stock's down almost 30% here. Wow, huge move down. We're definitely in oversold territory, but we have breached the all-time lows on this, haven't we? We are hunting for new lows here on Krispy Kreme. So I guess let me ask you, anyone looking to play this for a bounce, or is anyone looking to go pick up a couple of Krispy Kremes here today? It looks like there's no bottom in sight here, Jay. No bottom in sight yet. No bottom in sight yet on DNet. Okay. Let's see. You were saying Baba and BBAI. All right, let's take a look at both of them here. We can start with Baba. I'll tell you what, with this pullback that we've seen in the market, stocks with some of the best performance, some of these Chinese names. And here we go. Baba up again here today, up almost another 3%. It was up 3% earlier. Looks like we've come in a little bit from some of that, but performance here in Baba has been incredible. I know we've talked recently about this, 120 area being a possible breakout spot. We took that out. Next level here that I've got, looks like we actually already took that out too. 144 was the high. I would say the next spot after that, probably, maybe 150, but I see a little bit more up here, 169 on Baba. And then let's see here from this recent move. Let's do a retracement here, or an extension. Let's do this to this to this, and let's see what other levels. Here we go. So 153 might be another level there for Baba. We'll see if we can get back. That actually lines up pretty nicely with some of the previous price action. And then 200, I got that one at 198, the 2.618 level there, up at 198. Interesting. Alibaba doubles down on AI, launches QWQ Max to challenge OpenAI and DeepSeek. Folks, this is not going to be nearly the end of this AI battle back and forth. I expect a lot of competing headlines to come out of these. Definitely. We should see some more there. XPEV, we talked a little bit about Li Auto releasing its new SUV, EV SUV So that's probably affecting XPEV here today. I would imagine that that's trading in sympathy, unless we had some of its own news. XPEV shares trading higher on possible continued strength after UBS upgraded the stock yesterday from a sell to neutral and raised its price target from 8.8 to 18. So huge price target bump there on XPEV. Definitely fits the theme. Some of those China names that are really trading higher here. So, okay, we're about to open. We're short of 13. We're going to do the best that we can here, folks. We're going to do the best that we can. Let's see. What am I missing here? Okay. Without help, I may miss some of your comments. Well, what is going on? What is going on? Can we have more tech issues to deal with while we're on stream, please? We're not dealing with enough technical problems. So if the world could throw me a couple of more, that'd be appreciated. Okay. Looks like we're okay here so far. Okay, we'll see how this goes. We are about to open here. Let's see. Oh gosh, we are 5 seconds away from the open. Let's go. Let's go. Call out what you see here today. There is our bell. We are open, and here we go. Brea doesn't look like it's really moving. FMTO. This one is above its VWAP there. That was one that we talked about on the possible female theme there. Let me actually get my option scanner rolling here as well. Boop. Okay. Don't really see anything. Walmart puts. Interesting. So Walmart actually bouncing back here a little bit today. Interesting. Okay. ONVO. This is another one that we had there. Looks like that first move was an attempt to go higher. So far, we've hung on to the VWAP here. ONVO 122 definitely looks like one of those spots. Let me bring this up in my broker so I can take a look at some of the level 2 as well. All right, here we go. Looks like we're going for that high. I've got that pre-market high here, 146. Upper end of the VWAP standard deviation band at 149 too. And it actually looks like it's chomping through some size there. Should get a little bit more difficult if it crosses that 139, 140 area. Hans, your long Apple. Let's take a look at Apple here. What's the by the way, ONVO pulling here will halt down here at 116. Hans, what's the plan here on Apple? Nice little move out of the gate here on that. Something that has to do with the investment, AI. Let me know. Apple, strong move right out of the gate. And ONVO is indeed halted here, 116. So halted to the downside. Seeing Lee auto calls get bought here. BBAI, whoever was mentioning that earlier. Oh my gosh, I got to click on the right ticker here. BBAI above the pre-market highs here, going for 620. All right, 13 is back.
Am I?
I think so.
We'll see. All right. Well, assuming everybody can hear me just fine. Looks
you
like,
sound better.
Well, we'll get into why that is later. FMTO halted now. I guess you already mentioned ONVO halted.
Yep.
Yeah, so looking at Brea, like you just mentioned, that's pushing up to the 65 EMA. What else here?
Plan, NVIDIA down, Apple up, traded the opening gap. Okay, awesome, Hans. Do you have a similar trade set up for NVIDIA earnings? Are you maybe looking at Apple on that NVIDIA print?
Sorry,
much better. Okay, yeah, chat saying much better there. It seems much better on my end too, 13. So good.
That's
stuff.
funny. All I did was just reset permissions for a restream. That's all I did. So,
there we go. Well, that's what we needed to do.
Shouldn't have to, but that's what we had to do.
It shouldn't, without a doubt. But all right. So Brea so far holding on to that $1 level. We'll see if we end up trading up there. ONVO obviously halted. Weifu did take out that VWAP. We'll see if we can push higher from this area.
Looking for 4 in WAFU. I'm saying what?
I know. I know. RDHL, this did pop above and hold that VWAP. This is worth watching here. No position on that yet. And there goes Weifu. So that moved quickly here. Next spot that I have here, 396. So another 30 cents here. Let me actually cue that up so I can watch the level 2.
Did you happen to take a look and see and notice the trend line in RDHL there?
I think that I did. I think that I put that. Which one on what time frame?
I'm using the 5-minute, but I think you could see it there with the one you just had. Doesn't seem like you have the big spike that happened at 8:05, but there's a trend line there either way. You could probably even draw one with the current high that you have. It's a little bit lower than what I've got, but that would be the trend to break in this
pre-market high or the one that was made in the regular session here.
Pre-market. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, do the pre-market. I'm sorry. The regular session one. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. That's what I would go with since you don't have the other candles.
Sorry to interrupt here. Weifu did go right above that pre-market high now, or excuse me, the highest pre-market high here, about to get tested. 415.
So
stopped right there. And I actually see big volume up there. I can't see the level 2. I can't see who's sitting there. Here we go, though. We're going to test it right here.
Okay, so now if we get this to hold, I'd be looking, for this to push up into 550. There are some other levels ahead of that, though. This, it looks like 490.
Here we go. Weifu right through that, and a huge pop through that. All right, if you took that, good stuff. 433 here on Weifu. 436, your high print on that. Nice move there on Weifu right through that high.
We do want to see this hold above 4, though. This holds above 4. I think we still see that 550 at some point. But we do need to get past 490 on the way up to 5. Also looks like 515 may also be another level ahead of 550 as well. We got to hold 4.
Okay, real quickly here, the SMCI poll results are in. Thank you, everybody, for voting in our poll. Really appreciate it. Does SMCI beat, miss, or not report? Those were your 3 choices. Beat leading the way here with 43%, miss 33%, and not reporting 23%. So we'll see here on SMCI. Let me check that out. I didn't see that yet here today. Lower we go. SMCI down by 4.5+% here. Not out yet. I can't wait to see what happens here on this one.
With regard to FMTO, we I don't know if we touched on $10 being a potential level. I might have put those in as I was trying to deal with the internet problem, or not internet problem, the restream problem. $10 looks like the next breakout level that it's gonna take out of this halt. So that's a level I'd be watching for. And we lost 4 in WAFU. So that's unfortunate. Looking to recapture, though. ONVO, this thing really starting to fall now.
Okay, let me bring that back up here. Sorry, I'm handling something
No worries.
On the side, but here's your chart for ONVO.
Is in line not an option for SMCI? Maybe. It's not an option for the poll, but it's a possibility that we might see. FMTO is open. This is going to try and push up to 10. If we can get past 9:15 here.
Sorry, just give me 1 sec. I'll be right back with you. Which ticker? I can put that up on screen here.
FMTO.
FMTO.
A couple of times in the pre-market, it popped up beyond this level and went to 10. Looking for that to happen one more time here. The next time it happens, we should see it break over 10. If not, then we're going to lose VWAP and likely end up going lower. So got a potential move here in FMTO to 10. What's up with JTAI? Take a look at that and see if there's anything I can find there for you. Don't see any news. It did get a pop. Also, it has AI in the name. We're still on that theme a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like we have been. I don't think that's going to break. I don't think that's going to break anytime soon. I mean, we'll see what NVIDIA reports, but I think AI is that's going to be a theme for a lot of these smaller stocks for a while here.
Mm-hmm. JTAI still trying to search out 10, going back and forth a lot.
ADIL, see if that can recapture VWAP after that news print this morning here. Redfin continuing to print new highs. Did this get halted? No.
Apparently there's a buyout or a takeover with Redfin. I think that's
Redfin reports the typical buyer's down payment is 16. Where did you see that?
In the chat, somebody was mentioning that it was a takeover. I don't see that particular news.
Yeah, neither do I. Where did you get that from? Chat, how are the pancakes? It was you. Well, I was expecting somebody. I was expecting somebody to say pretty mid. Okay, you versus you. Redfin takeover. Where are you getting that from?
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. Oh man, FMTO really trying. Seems like it can't get out of the way of 950, or 950 is in its way, I should say.
Volume actually looks good here in FMTO. You know, I think you might that'd be interesting if it does represent a new theme that we can take advantage of. That would be that'd be something else.
Yeah, you know,
I'm looking for a new tradable theme. That one would be an easy one to identify, in my opinion.
Yeah, female wellness products.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Weifu, so it set that new high and it came back in. SLXN, we're still waiting to try and cross that VWAP. ADIL looks like that's going for the VWAP. We took it here. Actually, volume looks pretty good here on ADIL too. I would watch this one.
Man, just real. I'm not in FMTO anymore, but still waiting for it to see if it can get to 10. It's really having a hard time, but got as high as 970.
Here's your STAI, by the way. This is bouncing here after that huge move higher.
ONVO trying not to go lower. Don't know if that's going to be the case here. Looks like as soon as we get to under $1, I think this is going to probably drop down to around 75 cents.
STAI, the next level that I have here on STAI, 289.
WAFU, putting in a little bit of a setup here. As long as it holds VWAP, we could push up beyond that 436 high that it just made. Currently got a seller trying to push the price down.
I want to see it hold 380 here. Good morning, Mike. Good to see you.
And here we go. Let's recapture 4 and take off. It's got a little bit of a wall there at 420.
There it is. That was a good call, 13. Here you go. You're going to get a registering for that.
Oh, thanks. I mean, we still haven't made the big move yet. It looks like we're.
You were saying? You were saying?
I wasn't saying much.
That was pretty awesome, to be quite honest with you. Weifu. Here we go. Let's see if we get 5 prints here. Also, we are at a halt risk here on Weifu. Let me actually bring this up and take a look at the level 2.
All right. Well, that was
perfect timing, honestly.
That was pretty good. Yeah. Looks like FMTO could not get 10. Got as high as, what is this? Yeah, still only got as high as 970, and then we pulled beneath VWAP. That's, so glad I wasn't in that one when I was talking about it. Let's see what it can do here with the 65 EMA, which I have at 736. Not going to try to catch a fallen knife here. At WAFU, though, look at this thing go.
Yeah, I think 5 prints coming here. I do see some size sitting on the offer there at 5. Not in this one at the moment, but would not be opposed to trying this again.
ADI looking good. Let's take a look at that here.
Weifu backing off that. No, it's okay. It's backing off that high spot, but it's not really coming back in. Here we go. There's through 518, your high print. Oh my gosh, they went right through that spot. Here we go. More highs now. 531, your high print there, WAFU. And they actually traded 77,000 shares at that high print.
A little bit higher now.
Right here?
Yeah, all I need is just another 19 cents and I hit my target. That was 550.
Boom.
What a wonderful move in this one.
Yeah, that
hopefully
was.
You folks, hopefully everybody caught that.
I did catch a little piece of that. I'm not staying in the halt, though. I did catch a little piece of that. Good stuff there.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. What else are we looking at here, chat? Wow, what a move. TEM.
ONVO might be rebounding. Keep an eye on it.
TEM, we were bouncing after that earnings miss yesterday. Looks like we might roll over and test some of those lows. ONVO, you were mentioning?
Yep. It looks like it's trying to turn around here. We got a couple candles now where we've putting in some bottom wicks and trying to recapture the VWAP. So let's see if this can make its way through all the consolidation from this morning. Needs to, yeah. So as soon as we start getting over 115, which we just did, that's a good sign. Now we need to take out 120.
120. Yeah.
The level that is going to really be the big question mark is whether we can get over 140. You can see there's a lot of consolidation between like in the 135s to 140. Or I'm sorry, not consolidation, a lot of sellers. So they're really going to have to step up the volume in order to get through all those. They're making their way up though.
There we go. ONVO right through that VWAP there. We'll see if this can get rolling here. By the way, taking a look at SPY here, Chris, I know that you've got your eye on it. That's awesome. SPY, we are rolling over here. Let's see if we take out some of those pre-market lows. I do have that pre-market low, 595. We're currently right at yesterday's intraday low. Watch that SPY to roll over. So how many of you, we talked about this a little bit at the outset, how many of you took TZA from Matt Maley? He actually bought this in the morning and then went back and added to that same position later in the day. I think if we fall here, IWM should get blasted more. This also looking pretty good. Liotto back to VWAP. Let's see what else we got here. ONVO, that's still moving there. What happened here? Adapt Health.
ONVO is certainly trying, but like it was mentioning all the sellers in the way of the path up to 140. It's still taking its toll on the upside. Not enough buyers to take out. Okay, and here we go. Now we're starting to pull again. So that was the real big concern, is that with all the sellers that are in the way of getting up to the level that we needed to take out, it was looking like it may or may not happen, but it started to reverse there. And I thought, oh, there might be something happening here. No position in this one. Still want to see this recapture VWAP and hold above it before I'd consider taking the trade in it.
Okay. Consumer confidence coming in 14 minutes. Big B's. We will go ahead and read that. By the way, Eli Lilly here moving higher, taking out 900. What does the daily look like here on Eli Lilly? I do think this 935 area, I think we probably test some of these. I wouldn't be shocked if if Lilly tries to print 1,000 here.
We got 4 halts right now. RDHL, Brea, WAFU, and FMTO, all halted.
Brea halt to the downside, 91 cents. Weifu, we already take a look at. SXT, what was the other one that you had mentioned?
RDHL.
FMTO?
FMTO is also halted, but that's to the downside. It was on a loss of VWAP. Pretty much the only one out of the ones I mentioned was WAFU. That's the one that we're looking for, the 550 print. ADIL. It's not breaking down.
We did an exclusive this morning.
Yeah, it's not breaking down. So if this can recapture VWAP, this will be another good one to maybe for a trade in.
MLGO is getting a lot of mention here. Wow, this actually is a pretty decent move here. I wouldn't have taken this. I don't know what's the thesis here for this move. Nice action, but
let's see. It just
JTAI ripping Jaywalker, really good stuff on your trade. I think that was 13 that mentioned it, wasn't it? The AI theme.
No, I don't think I brought up JTAI.
Not initially?
No. I just mentioned that.
Yeah, sorry. That's when I was trying to deal with a work issue here.
Yeah, I'm not going to take anybody's credit for mentioning that. I was just saying, hey, it's got AI in the name, so it's running. I was joking about JTAI. All right. So ONVO. Okay. Third time now that we're putting in a candle that has these long bottom wicks. I'm still going to watch this one for a potential reversal and recapture of the VWAP. I still think this may try to push up, just based on how the buyers are really starting to step in. Before it gets to $1, they really are just trying to keep this from going underneath it. So
Weifu is open and higher on that initial print. 580 your high print here. WAFU.
There's my target. Ripped to
586 and 7.
Let me see if I can get you another level.
At this point, for me, at least for trading here, I would really want this to pull and hold.
Oh. Oh, so
good morning, Stella. No need to scream at us. You're doing a good job. We appreciate the dedication. We got you, Stella. No need to yell.
Good morning, Stella.
Hey, look, that's actually one of my favorite Seinfeld quotes of all time. When Elaine gets all hopped up on painkillers, Stella. I mean, that's classic. That's just classic.
WAFU, this may push up to 675 next.
619, your high print there?
Yeah, so 675 would be the next resistance area I would see. After that, maybe 780.
Oh, I see Tesla Q on the scanner. That means Tesla's got to be getting blasted, does it not? Wow, Tesla 315. This thing just sunk out of the gate.
All right.
Where's the bottom in Tesla, folks? This 300 level, I think that's got to be where we're coming in. We had one, what was it, 310, 311 on the regular daily. Weifu, by the way, pulled off that high spot now. It's pulling a little bit. See if that firms up.
That's okay.
311 was that spot there on Tesla. So 311 and 300 going to be some more possible downside spots for Tesla. It's down 4.5% here today. If that firms. Looking at the market here, market's still rolling. SPY here 595. So those pre-market green arrows that we had, those have evaporated. SPY down here 0.25%. Dow's actually positive. So the Dow actually popped and is holding positive here. NASDAQ also continuing to roll here. This at the lows and leading the way down here.
Wisdom, no, I have not. And if you're winking at me because you're making a joke, I'll get the joke later.
We are going lower. Yeah, Lion, it does feel like that, without a doubt. It does feel like that.
Is it finally happening?
Weifu back on here.
So for the SPY, a number to keep in mind of 582.57. That would represent 5% off the all-time highs we made. Completely expect to hit that level at some point. Not today, but at some point with this the selling, I expect to hit that level pretty. Maybe this week, maybe next week. Don't know when, but at some point.
Tesla's still hunting some of those lows. 313.50 now. Remember, 311 going to be one of those spots that we're looking at.
FMTO down to the 65 EMA and getting support. Let's see if it holds. Nope.
Wow,
that was fast.
Nope.
Meanwhile, Wafu is still trying to hang out up here.
I'm starting to see some wicks there on the top of that chart.
Yeah,
this is a 1 minute, so the 5 minutes probably even. Well, you only have two candles there, but
the current candle that we're in, this is kind of a battleground candle. It's trying to decide whether or not it wants to be of a continuation or a reversal. We just haven't seen that yet, and we still have 2 minutes left in the candle.
There it goes right through 650, 680. Holy smokes. Big pop there. You had to be fast on that. Again, no position for me. I've only hit this once here today, but I'm not in it. I'm waiting for a larger pullback than what we just saw. And man, I might not get it on this one.
680.
Yep. Here we go. I think we're going for 7 here.
Yep. So already took out that next level I had, and I think let me see what was it was 780 or that I think I said next. Let me see here. Yeah, 780 is the next level I would mark off here as resistance. I don't know that we're going to get to 880 or 9, because that's kind of the next area that I'd be looking at. But here we are trying to push 7, so it's possible. It's been a fun morning so far.
It actually has been kind of wild here. I'll tell you what, more action than I thought when I first looked at it. Wafu here is not disappointing.
Oh,
not
good job, Ed.
Disappointing. Let's see what else we got here. STAI. This bouncing back up here. This is actually a nice little VWAP bounce.
Well, it's nice to see we don't have any halts at the moment. Everything is open.
Oh, but the day is young, 13. The day is absolutely young. Nike here, actually continuing its move. Had a pretty decent article from Nike earlier. Ran out of time earlier on that. But that basically a 115 price target that should go higher according to that analyst.
Really?
Yeah, I can share that with you guys. Let me go ahead and get that.
Sounds good to me.
Just give me one side. You have a long-term position on Nike, don't you?
I certainly do.
Yep, good stuff. That was really good timing here. Here is your Nike article. I'll throw that in the chat.
Well, also I've been buying Nike for a matter of months already, but I started buying last year.
Yeah.
But for
I'll tell you what, the ads down there at that 71 level was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. SPY here, new lows. It looks like that continues to roll over here. That TZA trade. How many of you guys are printing with Matt Maley? See if we can get above 14. Maybe get
printing daily with Matt Maley.
Printing daily with Matt Maley. How did we miss such an awesome, obvious one-liner? You know what?
Because you didn't consult me.
That's true. We got to come up. I might have to make a graphic for his Monday spot. We'll have to see if he likes that. Printing daily with Mark Maley. Matt Maley. Did I just call him Mark? Oh my God.
You did. You did. We got a lot of Matts and Marks up in here.
We got a lot going on. I love it. By the way, Weifu continuing to try and go higher here. Might set some new highs here. 721, your high print there. Volume actually still looks pretty good. Ryan, you're cutting out now too. Perhaps running fewer ads. I've had 12 ads now since 8 a.m. I don't even know what you're talking about. Let me go give that to the producer here too. I don't think the sound issues have anything to do with the ads.
Or your equipment.
Yeah, actually, the producer confirmed that we made no changes to the ad playing.
We got a big wall that the sellers just put in at WAFU. They're trying to keep it from getting back into 7. So be careful. Watch this price action. We start putting in these upper shadows like we're starting to. We could see a rollover here. So we need to take out that those sellers at 7. FMTO down even more now, halted to the downside. I think 560 is going to be in the cards here out of this halt.
I'm going to check here.
You sound fine to me.
Yeah, so do you. I'm going to check the stream here real quick, though, and see what that sounds like. Sometimes.
We're just kind of waiting for something to set up here. Really watching WAFU for that for a potential reversal here. Probably going to need another like 5 or 7 minutes for that to kind of reveal itself.
Looks good. Looks good on YouTube. Looks good here as well. All right, let me get. How did this troll get back in here? Here, you know what? I remembered. We got something for you, Jake. You offer no value on any of the streams that you ever come on, and you're always angry about Trump. Here's something for you.
It's funny because I can hear him saying that in my head.
Peace out, dude. Have fun on the next stream that you try to ruin. Let me go back. Let me get that edge banner. Okay. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Weifu here actually holding higher. We'll see if we can break higher here.
I think it's going to take one more candle to tell us whether or not, and I'm looking at the 5-minute chart. It's going to tell us one more candle. I think it's going to take one more candle for it to tell us whether or not this is going higher.
Okay, we'll see if we end up getting that. This is looking pretty good. Watch this volume. If this volume ticks up, I think we bust through those highs. Here we go. Watch 7 first. There's 7. Wow, they took huge size at 7 on that move up.
Yeah. They had to. There's a big seller.
The high print. Yeah, they took it all. One swoop. They just took all of it right there, and now it's pulling.
I think we still need to let this 5-minute candle close, and I think the next 5-minute candle is going to probably tell us the whole story. But we could maybe even break through 721 here on this current one. I'm not sure if that will happen. I think we just need to see one more candle after this one. I think we'll have an idea of where this is going.
Weifu here. If this doesn't break down here, I got 661, the spot that we really don't want to lose. This could build and even pop again. Careful with this one. Look, actually, I see a huge offer right there at 671. Now they're walking it down here. Yep. Careful on this until that offer gets taken.
Jonathan Cooper mentioning that we have market data in 1 minute. Thank you for the shout out there.
Yeah, that's the consumer sentiment number that we've been waiting for, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin because it's insane how much it's been hammered.
Yeah.
In just one day. But this is what we were talking about.
Well, so here, you actually might have missed this earlier. Here, let me go back and get this. You know what? I have to find that article. I actually thought that this was entertaining. Let me find that for you again here real quick. So we had the article. Let me actually just share the article for those that want it. But real quick here, Blunt's Capital, a Bitcoin trader was saying that if we lose that 92 area, it should be a quick flush there. That's exactly what we saw.
Well, there we go. So
thank you, producer. On top of it here, CB consumer confidence for February 98.3 versus the 102.7 estimate. The prior read was 104. Another light number there. Weifu looks like it's going to retake 7 there. Here we go. Next, the intraday highs there, 749.
I think it's time to be careful with WAFU. It looks like it's great that we got as much as we did, but the upper shadows this is starting to put in, I think I would be either raising my stops or maybe saying thank you and getting out of this and let it set up again. Still got 3.5 minutes left in this candle, so the bearish sentiment could get invalidated. But right now it's looking like this might be topping out.
And it's trying to have a battle right here around 7.
Mm-hmm. So it could still do it, but I really think that we should need to take a cautious approach at this point.
And a cautious approach on pretty much everything here, as Jonathan is mentioning, market at the lows here. So it's really going to be this stuff bucking the trend that we should focus on. ONVO doing that here. Looks like we might try to take out the VWAP. Yep. Got that VWAP at 119 on ONVO.
It's actually broken through mine already and halted above it. I have my VWAP at 112.
I was just catching up there. Okay, so this is halted. Yep, sure is. That was just the price action catching up. My bad.
It's all good.
I think might be curling.
And here we go. Now
got it.
Sorry, WAFU is starting to get walked down some more. This
look at that pull.
What I was talking about here. This is.
And so you actually run the risk of a halt to the downside here if it pulls like that. SPY, by the way, 594, doing everything it can to hang on to that 594. NASDAQ is actually bouncing a little bit here. We can check in on NVIDIA too. Weifu continuing to pull.
And as far as the SPY goes, there's a previous all-time high at that level of support that was 591.93. So we get down there, we could see some of the bulls start to step in and try to lift the price up. But again, who was the gentleman you had on before me? Because it
was Derrick Oldensmith from T3.
Yes, on a potential reversal today. I think that was also something I was mentioning yesterday in Happy Hour. That given that we've had 3 selling days in a row, it wouldn't surprise me to see it bounce today. And yeah, he said a brief short-term one. I agree with all that, but so far we're not getting that. Still, we have a lot of day left.
Weifu here off that pull, trying to bounce, but we really wanted to show some more strength before we trust that one. I almost think that could be almost like a trap bounce there. Be careful on that one.
Yeah, so that level that I was targeting earlier, if we broke over 4, it was 550. That's now going to be the big support area I'm looking at for WAFU. If we go down there and we start trading around 550, we need to hold that, or I think this is the day's going to be over for this.
Whole market pulling some more here now. Dow actually went negative as well. Bounce here in the NASDAQ seems to be lightening up. We're trying to go back to the lows there. Okay, TZA, those calls are working. Scott, yeah, it's got to be you, man. I actually checked. I went on YouTube on my end. There is no cutting out. Try leaving the stream and coming back and see if that helps at all.
And I was going to say MBRX, but I don't know about a recovery here. It might, but I'm not sure. It still has to get above VWAP, which it could, but this thing has got a lot of resistance on the way up, so I don't know how much we're going to get out of this. It'd have to be a really big, set of buyers coming in to help push this up. We need a much better volume than this to go higher.
Weifu pulling here. I got no problem waiting this out. I got a short instrument on. I've got gains booked from a day trade. Portillo's somehow reported good earnings, and it's holding its gain higher. So, all right.
Let's see, what did it come down to? So just above 570. It's trying around here, but I still think 550 would be a better. ADIL still having a hard day. Almost back to where it opened at. Actually, I'm just beneath it, actually. Yeah, I feel like this might be a short-term bounce in WAFU on the way down lower. Volume is really starting to dry up here too. Market might be scaring all the mover traders. Bitcoin still looks like it could go lower. I think 85 is going to be a pretty strong support area. Don't know if it'll hold. I'm looking at 85,000 for to start stepping in and trying to keep.
I'm excited if Bitcoin gets a little bit more of a pull. I want to add some more fiat to that. Okay. Weifu did try to recapture 6 there. I'm going to be okay just kind of passing on that one. I'm going to kind of wait some of this out, see if the market finds its footing anywhere. NASDAQ is trying to bounce here. JTAI getting mentioned in the chat. That was another good mover here today. We still doing, yeah, that's actually not terrible. See if we can get back above the VWAP there.
Take a look at your favorite value names and let me know.
J. Michael, leaving and coming back fixed my issues. Thank you for confirming that. I think, you know what? That's going to be like the good old router reset where you unplug it and plug it back in. That's going to be the new, like, step 1 diagnosis step here. Seems like that's worked for multiple people here today. We'll try that next time.
FMTO is unhalted now, trying to turn around and go back volume though. It's kind of spready as well.
Yeah, Nick saying the market is still pulling overall as far as the hot stocks from the past 2 months. Yeah, so there's definitely still some weakness in some of those Momo stocks. We actually talked to Darren earlier about Reddit here. Yeah. Reddit, watch 156 if this can take out yesterday's intraday low. And yeah, that and I see Izzy ONDS. That it's not been great. It's not been great. J. Michael, sorry, 13. J. Michael, your ad issue is specific to you. I've actually had 2 different producers check it out on both ends. We've made no changes. That issue that you're dealing with, I'm sorry, but it is definitely specific to you. Sorry, get in there, 13.
It's the whole thing we were talking about yesterday. Those four big themes that were big runners at the end of 2024. Those are going to get absolutely slapped.
Yeah. Quantum
and
AI,
yeah.
Bitcoin. What were the four?
It was quantum, drones, nuclear, and space.
Okay.
Those are the four big moving themes that we had at the end of last year. Let these things get hammered. They will price that we can pick them up and trade them again. But let's just wait. Let's be patient.
Portillo's on the scanner. Break higher, Portillo's. Let's go. Let's go. Eli Lilly looking like this might try and break higher.
But yeah, so who's got some value stocks that pay dividend? Those I'm sure are looking pretty good right now.
My favorite one, green here on the day. My favorite dividend stock here is going to be ticker STWD. This is Starwood Properties Trust. This is Barry Sternlich's deal. This thing pays out a nice dividend. And what are we at here? What's that recent one? 9.3%. It actually sometimes is above 10%. This is my favorite. I probably never have to sell this stock if everything goes according to plan.
So I've been buying, lots of Pepsi over the past several months as well, and we're breaking out of the one, I guess we'll call it the 156 resistance area. It's a pretty good level based on previous price action as well, and we've double bottomed here, and it looks like we're setting up for a W-shaped recovery. This current run that it's on could go as high. It could go into the 160s before we start to see some weakness. But now that we're above that 156 handle, I'm going to want to see that the price remain above that. That's going to be more closes above that, like several days closing above 156. But if we get that, that's going to be a really strong support in PEP.
This guy likes BITO as a dividend play there. ONVO, this did get halted to the downside.
BRB that might be a pretty good one to pick up next month, at the beginning of next month, how that ETF pays out their dividends. It's all based on Bitcoin futures contracts. So I think you picking it up at the beginning of the month if it's like down here in the mid to low 80s, and if you're anticipating a turnaround in March, BITO could probably be a really good one with that in mind. Let's make sure that you understand what you're trading there. Best real estate dividend stocks is Realty. I've had that one before too. Long-time holder of AB. Alliance Bernstein. Okay. Shanaloka, you're asking about STWD. Let's take a look here. Starwood Property Trust. Okay, so you guys you're mostly looking at these REITs for your dividend plays, which is fine. We just want to see, we just want to see rates go down with these REITs mostly.
I'm back. How's Wayfood doing there? Is it still flagging, or that started its move? Okay, we're still holding in there. Still holding in there.
That reminds me, we'll take a look at ADC, because that's another one that I've liked. This is Realty. They also pay a monthly dividend.
Okay, monthly dividend talk. Okay, sweet. Lion here saying Ryan, the best of those real estate dividend stocks is pays just about 6%, $50 stock here. I'll stay with STWD, but this is another one to add to the list. What was the one that you just mentioned? Sorry. ADC. 4% dividend here.
Yeah.
$73 price tag.
Yeah. And they, their tenants are usually the really big name companies, like Home Depot and Walmart, but Best Buy, Lowe's, things like that. They do really well. Now, if there's a plan to somehow get rates lower, if Trump's going to work on something for that, then these real estate names are going to actually be really, really good. Wisdom, you're looking for Bitcoin to 82K?
I would be tempted to add down there. When I say add to Bitcoin, because my first buy was so low, I'm just basically going to add like a little bit at a time, as opposed to taking like a huge position and trying to time some type of reversal there. So I would be. JJ's asking, how low do you think Bitcoin could go? Honestly, I do think that could roll over and test 70K again. I mean, frankly, Bitcoin can do whatever it wants. Yep. I don't want to sit here and act like I'm some sort of Bitcoin expert, but I wouldn't. Would you really be terribly shocked if it rolled over and tested 72 to 70,000? Me either.
And here's why: the whole move beyond 70,000 is the whole move that we were looking at from into the double top where we were. I could absolutely see Bitcoin giving that entire back. So going back to the November breakout, take us down to about 5. I think.
Here's what I've got. This area right here, and I just eyeballed this line, so the exact value is probably not terribly important. I've got this at 71,500 on the Bitcoin spot price. This is the breakout level. And I mean, if you want to draw your lines however you want, right? If you want to do it so that it's 73,500, because the two peaks here mark the top there, be my guest. Be my guest.
My mic's
no, you sound good on my end. You sound good on my end.
Oh, okay.
This guy is saying, wait for a bigger drop on Bitcoin. So I'm with you there. This is, which is again, one of the reasons why adding to this is going to be done in just like little bits, like maybe even $100, $200 increments at a time, and just kind of build up over time by dollar cost averaging.
WAFU is still trying to make a comeback, but it also needs more time. WAFU on the other is still looking like it's going to lose.
Yeah, it's really been. I'll go back to that chart here. Let me just ask Tom's question here. Tom saying, well, didn't Bitcoin go from 60,000 down to below 30,000 one time? Yes, as a matter of fact, it did. In fact, it put in a pretty good looking double top here, anywhere between 62 and 63,000. Actually went as high as 60, almost 69,000. Nice. But this did roll all the way back down here. This actually printed in the 15s. 15K. I'll say this. If we get anywhere near 15K, I'll definitely be converting some more fiat there. Kindred Duke. Sorry, Kindred Duke saying 76K looks to be the buy-in spot. Okay, what do you need here, 13?
I think I think we started talking about when Bitcoin was going to turn around toward the end of 2023, but that was ago, so I can't remember conversation. But I remember specifically telling some folks, it looks like Bitcoin is starting to turn around.
Actually, now your mic did break up a little bit there. Man, it's the amount of tech issues that we are dealing with here today is crazy. Give us some more. Give us some more. We don't have enough.
Yeah.
All right. And man, the gremlins are out. 13, they're out. We got this, though. We got this.
Yep. RDHL.
Oh my God, yeah, it was. And look at that trend line that you had me draw, 13. That was crispy.
That's what we needed to break out. We didn't get it. This is also going to be finished. I think it's. And there it is. That just leaves WAU, which break V here, and that's down to it now. It's over.
That is probably your break. Is Smoke Tuna still here? Tuna, you're normally pretty good at calling the death blow for some of these names here. Let me know if you're still around. Shanicola, we cannot tell you what to do with your assets. We cannot tell you to sell all of your crypto. Sorry. Yeah, see, sound is good. I don't know. Waifu, by the way, this is continuing to break down now. I've got the VWAP here at 5. I know if it's 495 here in TradingView, it's 499 in my broker, so it's pretty much right there at 5.
Yeah, 550 old. That was the support. We don't get. I think there's else we're looking at. So far, it's rebounding off that area though.
SMCI still nothing here with that report. This is now sinking down almost 9%. This is wild too. Pretty huge reversal. This was 56 in the pre-market. That would have been a pretty good short up there. Jay, were you active with SMCI in the pre-market here today? Lion saying, Ryan, it's just about 10:30. Time to sell some of that junk. Well, actually, it looks like Waifu didn't even wait for that 10:30 here. We'll see what happens if this does plunge to the VWAP, though. How's ONVO doing after that? Didn't we have a downside halt on this one? All right, so this is actually struggling with the VWAP here. So ONVO, this would be another one of those junk stocks to watch if we do get any type of turnaround there at 10:30. That's 11 minutes away. By the way, NASDAQ at the lows, SPY at the lows. So SPY 591 now. Whichever one of you folks was calling that there were going to be more lows. Line, I think that was you. I think that was several of you. That seems to be what we're getting.
Yep. Let's see. How far down did we get here? Is it at that previous all-time high I mentioned? No, it went through it. The previous all-time below it now, and we've got quite a ways.
582.30 is the next level down. There's
going to be a gap to fill. Actually, that gap starts at just under 590.
Yep.
Let's see. So 589.20, and it fills at 585. So you got a 420 gap right there.
Where's wisdom at?
ONVO, this might halt to the upside. There's a lot of buyers starting to pile into this. We might take out a lot of these levels on the way up here. MACD starting to curl. Keep an eye on ONVO after we unhalt.
Here we go.
All right. RDHL.
I had written this one off, by the way. I had written ONVO off earlier, especially that downside halt that really kind of yanked us beneath $1. I thought for sure this was done. This is resilient here. Probably pass on this. Waifu trying to find footing at the same time.
Yeah.
The only junk that's holding nicely is JTAI. I think Pretty Panda's all over that. A couple of you guys are trading some of those AI names. Waifu, maybe we're bouncing here. I don't trust it. I'll pass, but looks like it's bouncing. Actually, it's JTAI, maybe through 9 again. You might have another chance here. How about SLXN? This was another one that we had on the list earlier. This is a little bit of a pop and drop, although we'll see if we can reclaim VWAP there. ADIL, that was one that we did that exclusive on. This pretty much just gave it up. Weakness. Lava Therapeutics. I hadn't looked at this one yet today. Ticker LVTX. Lava Therapeutics shares trading higher after the company announced the evaluation of strategic options. So maybe a potential takeover here. LVTX.
Yeah, Fairchild, it's looking like there's a rotation into some more defensive, not like the industrial defensive, but like, market defensive names like utilities, consumer defensive staples, and some industrials. So it seems like that's kind of where we're seeing some of the rotation go into. Some healthcare as well. Yeah, I think a lot of these good moves we've already seen here. WAFU really does need to hold this 550 or else.
Yeah,
like
it
I
does.
said, I think it's done.
Home Depot strong here after reporting earnings. That was actually lower by about 1.5% this morning. Has gone green. Lowe's following suit. Lowe's reports tomorrow morning. there's maybe a potential there. Let me go back to WAFU because I'm with you on that. We're coming to a decision point here pretty soon.
FMT open and lower. This thing's finished. Maybe there's support down at 440, but I'm not going to trade this one. As far as Home Depot goes, very concerning pattern on the daily. Still looks bearish to me. We did get a nice bounce off the 200, but still have to recapture some of these other SMAs, and haven't done that yet. So wait to see if we continue to push up here, but I'm a little concerned about the way this chart looks. I think we still go lower.
So I mean, here is the chart. You can see that nice clean bounce off the 200-day. So 13, I'm almost wondering if we do trade up to this. I got the 50-day, which is the yellow line there at 402.91. Let's call it 403. Stock's currently at 394. If we move to 403, maybe reject it at that 50-day. Look for maybe this to roll over, retest some of those lows, maybe retest that 200-day as well.
We'll back out a little bit more. You can see the pattern. There you go. It looks like a head and shoulders there to me.
Right here, let me draw it for you. I see exactly what you're talking about right here. You got your left shoulder, you got your head, you got your right shoulder right here,
and you got a pretty clear neckline at let's call it 380.
So right down. Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? Actually, if 380 is such a nice round number, I'm actually just going to draw that on here.
Yeah, it's probably like some, number like 379 and change, but let's just go with 380 so that we don't have to remember decimals.
There we go. So we'll see if this head and shoulder resolves or if we hold on to that. Weifu, by the way, while we were doing this here, Weifu rolling over and breaking. So I think that's probably done. I got VWAP here, 497. We'll see if this hangs on to 5. I'd be careful with this one, though.
Yeah. Trying to recapture at 550, but like you said, I think we need to be distant observers here. I think this might still go lower.
Yeah, I'm okay passing on Weifu here. Shanil Oka, can someone tell my stock's falling again today? Sure, your stock's falling again today. Britt here asking, do you guys see Palantir as a good dip buy? Now, this is the $64,000 question. If you love Palantir, well, let's put it this way. If you loved it at 120, you got to really love it down here at 80, don't you? Britt, to answer your question, the long and short, yes. Really, the question is going to be, when is this buy? I'm still thinking we might get 60. Like if the market really starts to sell off, and this is just the beginning of this, a name like Palantir, I could absolutely see this coming into 60. Now, we are pretty much right at the 50-day. That's 85.5. So if you're going to try to talk me into taking a starter here, yeah, I could see why. That was also a previous resistance level, but I don't think there's any guarantee that we're going to bounce here. I don't think there's any guarantee that we're going to bounce here. And frankly, I'd rather have this as a long-term ad near 60 handle.
I agree with that. I think that you're going to probably see better support come in as we make our way into the consolidation here that started from December into the current month that we're in. Just that consolidation before we had this massive breakout into a gap up. I think we'll probably see some better support in there. Maybe 70, but that's what I'd be because 70 has been where the buyers have stepped in every time that previously when it was coming after we had broken over 70 and it came back in, the buyers stepped in and pushed it back up, and that happened multiple times. So I think 70 would be a good spot to keep an eye on LTR.
Lion here saying 60, I'd be a buyer. Yeah, I would too. I mean, one of the other things that's going on with Palantir here is that if you really do think that the administration is going to continue to cut government spending, or Hegseth is going to continue to ask, defense names to maybe trim 8% of their budget every year or allocate that some other way, I think you could probably draw up a bear case here for Palantir because they rely so much on that income. I just think that with all of the different things that this is involved in and the way warfare technology is going to kind of arc to, I still think, and with cybersecurity being a theme that I'm still pretty hot on, I think Palantir is a good ad. I'm really hoping for 60. Maybe we get some type of like regression back to the mean bounce here off the 50-day, and then we really kind of plunge down to that 60 level. I'd be looking to add there.
ONVO trying to push up into beyond the pre-market high of 146. We're at just under 140 right now. Be careful with this one. This could break out and then pull right back real quick.
Sorry, Weifu did go to the VWAP like we talked about. Here's your ONVO chart.
Yeah, so this one trying to come back and push into the pre-market highs. Just be careful with this one. Feel like if we do get that breakout, I don't know if it'll be sustained or not.
Average option saying, why do retail traders hold Palantir so much? Didn't the CEO sold billions right up near the top? CEO, yeah, there was a lot of the insiders were selling. To answer your original question, though, why do traders hold this so much? Palantir has definitely become one of like the cult stocks. You could say Nvidia has been in that camp before. I definitely think Palantir, one of like the Momo cult FinTwit names that people just absolutely love, makes it a battleground stock. And as a result, you just have people that kind of hang on to it maybe too long. Well, the trading that we were doing here, at least for the most part, as long as I can remember, we were doing a lot of trading on that one on the upside, not so much on the downside. So it seems to me that traders are looking to areas where they can kind of reload that and then maybe trade it again. Would be my best guess.
And Nvidia had the same kind of thing happen. You had people holding on to it. Meanwhile, you had the CEO continuing to sell shares.
And then on the other side of his mouth, say how great the demand was and all this great stuff and how great Black. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. By the way, Money Matt Maley. What's our nickname for him? How about these TZA things that he gave us?
Oh, Printing Daily
with Matt Maley. TZA, big move here. Nice little hedge, given what we're seeing here today.
Oh man, Wafu was
I only hit it one time. Did you have multiple ins and outs on that? Because I feel like it gave multiple setups there, but I only hit it one time today. Okay. Yep, sometimes that's all you need. And you know what? I think the lesson here, 13. How thrilled am I that I didn't try to go back to the well, end up getting hit on one of those pulls when this thing was wicking near the highs around $7. Didn't try it at the VWAP here. We did a really good job outlining how much weaker this actually looked.
Yeah, and the whole upper shadow thing that we were talking about, that was really telling us that this thing was starting to top out. And I hope nobody got caught in that downside move, because we talked about this, for 10 minutes before it actually happened. So that was just a really nice setup to the downside. And now it's continuing to break down. That wouldn't surprise me if this goes down to 4 before it starts to get some support.
Anne Marie here saying advancers to good Lord. I tried, Anne Marie. I'm sorry. I tried. Advancers to decliners continue to trend down. That is the exact same thing that we're seeing with the market breadth here. All red across all the indices there. And those numbers are continuing to get worse as well. It's kind of what we expected. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about it again today. We positioned ourselves with a nice little hedge here.
And I'm glad that it's happening, because this feels like the market finally exhaling. So that when if we finally get some, much better valuations in these names that we, want to pick up, so let the stocks get hammered. They'll have better valuations. I was still bad with names. The gentleman you were talking before, I agreed with that part that he mentioned too about looking for a really big move down in the market, so that some of these longer term names that he's interested in, that I'm interested in, actually start to make better sense to pick up for the longer hold. I'm looking for that kind of event, and hopefully we'll.
I mean, how long have we been waiting for a dip in this market? I mean, this, to me, at least, if you asked me, I would say this is overdue by a year. And it's not as if I'm right and the market's wrong. That's not what I'm trying to say. Clearly, the market does what the market's going to do, and I was the one that's wrong. But I'm glad that we're finally getting it. Let's reset some of this stuff.
Yeah. ONVO, by the way, that took out the pre-market high, and looks like it may halt to the upside.
On which one?
Hasn't. It's halted.
ONVO. Weifu, by the way, continuing to break down here. WAFU.
Oh yeah,
that was a really good call.
Yeah, still needs to. I think WAFU needs to hit 4.
Tom saying it could get worse today as Trump is signing those executive orders. Those were, I believe, the Canadian Mexican ones that they initially talked about. That might exacerbate the move down. I'm all for that. Look, if we're going to actually do this sell-off, like, let's do it. Here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want the market to look like it's completely falling apart and then have NVIDIA swoop in with some earnings print, drive everyone back to euphoria, rip the market to new highs, only to then get puked out again on the backside. I mean, I guess if we set up for that, I'll trade that way. But really what I'd like to do, let's just get the sell-off started. Let's get to a reasonable level, and let's start making some calls on some reasonable valuations in some of these good names. That, to me, is what I actually want to do. Market is not in the habit of giving me what I want. I'll tell you that much. Not going to count on that.
Somebody had asked about BBAI earlier and how low it could go. I'll just give you a couple levels of where we might see this end up, but there's no guarantee it'll stop where I'm looking at here. The earliest spot that you might see some support is going to be in between 520 and 525. But if that area doesn't hold, I think 480 is a stronger support area. So for now, I would just say BBAI. Look for some support as low as 480. I don't know that it's going to really break down beneath that consolidation from December and November into January. I don't think we're going to really see a breakdown of that, but if we do, then maybe 355 could be the next level. But I think 480 is going to be a stronger support area.
That's actually, and here you go. You can actually see that on the chart here. That's good stuff. 13, good stuff.
Yep, Jay Rice, exactly. That's something we were talking.
Okay.
I briefly.
So I think Jay's actually correcting me here because I had said that the tariffs that are getting signed today might be the Canadian and Mexican ones, and no, that would be wrong. It would be the March 3rd. That's Monday, by the way. It's not even as if that's far away. And
yep,
Anne Marie, first of all, thanks for joining us here, Anne Marie. We had some tech issues, so sorry if you were fighting through those. Any stocks that you folks want to talk about on the option show, we start with Anne Marie here in about 25 minutes. So if there are some stocks that you'd like to set up a trade on, get those tickers ready and let's do it. Let's do it.
Maybe some value names, since those seem to be getting a lot of attention. What value names do you like? I'm asking you, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking the group.
Them too. You're part of the group, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good question. Normally I'd throw stuff like Tyson in there, but with the way things have changed, I don't really think that I'd add that there. Definitely want Costco, right? If everything comes in, I'm gonna be a buyer of Costco. I view that as a value name, even if you don't consider it one. I'd like to look at some defense names if those come in. We talked a little bit about Palantir. I would include some defense names in that same kind of discussion.
Well, now you're talking about like some of the big name defense names like Lockheed and RTX and okay. I mean, even maybe Boeing we could add to that because that's still getting support from the 50-day SMA. But I think Boeing might be a good idea.
Yeah, I like Boeing here. I actually did take the short-term gains on Friday when we were getting absolutely cracked. I just wanted to make sure I got out with gains before the position turned red, but I still think Boeing to 200 is not a terrible idea.
Like I was saying, Google. Now this has a low RSI, so that could be an interesting one. And we're testing the 20-day SMA right now, so that could be an interesting one. Like at least a short-term rebound, if anything. But this one looks like and it's going to need to hold that 200-day SMA if we're going to get that reversal. But it looks pretty good here.
Seeing a number of folks in the chat mentioning snow. Is that one that you folks would like to add if things really start to come in? Just to make sure I get that correct here. 3D's on this one. Stella's on this one. Palantir, yeah, I'm still in with that. Amazon, that would be another one. Gary's looking at BBAI. T from Craig. Okay.
With Snowflake, so try drawing a trend line from November 22nd of 2021. That's that one there. draw it through the highs of February of 2024, and then keep it going. And look at what we're back testing right now.
Okay, let me adjust this here. Let me get this. Here you go. So you're back testing this trend line. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
The SMCI setup.
Yeah,
The
pretty
trend
similar.
line from the channel that we were back testing here, that we've actually broken into that channel. Folks, SMCI down on 8.5% here. I don't see anything regarding that report that they were supposed to have ready today.
Yeah, and SMCI is a little bit of a different animal because of the NASDAQ compliance. But Snowflake, on the other hand, they're not they're not risk of being delisted. And they have earnings tomorrow. So like SMCI, the setup is really there, provided that they have the earnings print we're all hoping for. So if Snowflake does well, then you have this basically launch pad of a setup to have this go back up to maybe 200. There's no guarantee we get up there on the earnings print, but I mean, this is just a really good technical back test of the trend line.
Anne-Marie, maybe Snowflake then, with earnings coming up here, maybe that should be one that we'll take a look at. 3D mentioning Intel, that's actually had a pretty sweet move recently, although it's given some of it back. We actually would have been stopped out of that potential long up to the 500, by the way.
Yeah, Intel, it's down at a support area where there was consolidation back in October and November of last year. But I think some of the other factors that are driving it, aside from its chips starting to look a little bit better, is the fact that Trump wants to keep chip manufacturing in the United States. That can tend to bode well for this company.
Market is putting in what looks like its first attempt at a bounce here. SPY, NASDAQ, Dow up off the lows. We'll see if this is just a corrective bounce or if we end up rolling over and printing some new lows here. 592 your spot there on the SPY. Mike, that's what we were waiting for. You're talking about SMCI. Did they get an accounting firm yet? That's what we're waiting for. They were said that they were supposed to be able to release that. I think it was the 10K by the deadline.
Yeah, they said they were going to release everything by the deadline.
And I would imagine, so just to kind of carry it forward based on your question, I would imagine in order to do that, wouldn't they need their accounting firm to do that? I would think. No position for me. It's easy for me to sit by and watch because I got nothing on the line for that one.
ONVO.
I was just going to say, JTAI pulled back, lost the VWAP here, but this has been one of the decent movers. It looks like we had, three here today, right? JTAI, Weifu, and ONVO. Those gave us some moves here. ONVO is still going.
Yeah, ONVO up to a level that I had marked off from a while back, 175. Giving some resistance to that, but if it holds above 145, then I think we could see it break over the 175 and maybe even go up to 2. So we'll see if we get that price.
And we do have Weifu curling here, by the way. Did not quite get to the $4 level. That was the 65 EMA on the 5. I can't remember if you mentioned that one earlier, 13, but I had taken a look at that. I do see that we're down here at the 200 EMA on the 1-minute chart. I don't know how much stock I put into that, though.
Yeah, C-Spot Intel is also emerging as another option for graphics cards, kind of in the more of a low cost graphics card space, because right now it's mostly just it's mostly just NVIDIA and AMD that are kind of leading that charge in the video card space. But so absolutely, Intel could be entering the graphics card market in a big way with their low cost options for the performance. ONVO getting pushed down here, going to halt to the downside. This is not too far away from where it's got to hold. 145 is the level I gave just a moment ago, and we are halted to the downside now. So
nothing but selling volume there.
Yeah.
Hans asking if Tesla bounces from 300. So 311 was the level that we gave you earlier. That did give a little bit of a bounce. Boy, that barely lasted 5 minutes. More new lows here. Tesla now down 8%.
I think I like 280 better. I mean, it's very low RSI, so 300 bounce, not out of the question. I just think I like 280 better for support.
And I had 283 as one of those fib levels. I knew I had one down there. 283 is what I got. And the 200 day at 277.
All right, we're starting to see some reversal happening here in these movers from this morning. FMTO, WAFU, and BREA, they all just had a little bit of a green pop here. They're starting to try to push up. Now, I don't want to say that this is going to these are going to start taking off, but they're trying to push back up. This could be a bull trap.
Pretty Panda here saying scammers trying real hard to pump Brea over $1. So I'm assuming that's something that's happening on Twitter or maybe a chat room or something like that. Pretty Panda. He's right though. This thing came from 87 cents. I got that VWAP at 107. Tell you what, this thing, the last time this thing tried to go to the VWAP, got straight up Mutombo'd there. We'll see if that happens again.
I don't know if that's
it's
ever
not,
going to
dude. Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, like I grew up in the 90s as a Bulls fan, so Michael Jordan was like a huge part of my life. But man, even alongside Michael Jordan, I don't know if there was a bigger name than like Charles Barkley and Dikembe Mutombo. Like those I will never fade. It will never fade. And I mean, just swatting a ball away and then wagging your finger. It's too good. It's too good. Okay. Big red candle in JTAI. We finally on the backside of that move. I missed this one here today. I was trading Weifu instead. But I'm actually probably all right here. Maybe we'll add to some stuff later. We'll see if we peel TZA off later today.
We can't hit them all.
Hit them all. Don't need to either.
It's not Pokemon.
Well, I'd also rather not give anything back, right? Like that's like my big thing. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that are trading EA, so I was actually hoping in a perfect world we'd get a little bit more of a push. I talked to you folks about this yesterday when we were at 132. We actually printed 134 and change. I was hoping we were going to get another push here above 135. I would have considered closing the trailer piece on this. Keep in mind, EA, I believe, is ex-dividend tomorrow. I don't have it here, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case from their last report. Pretty sure they go ex-dividend tomorrow. I had a note on there. Let me go check that real fast.
The 26th of February. Wednesday.
So yeah,
So yes, I think
so. It is tomorrow. Okay, thank you, 13. You saved me the trouble there. So I expect EA maybe to trade down a little bit more today. So it depends what you have left on your position for that. Remember, we're dealing with the third trailer piece. We're all profit at that point. So it is what it is. Portillo's flirting with 15.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with just sitting on my hands, until maybe the afternoon, because as you know, as Lyle was pointing out, we are getting to closer to lunch. It's already past 10:30. I think it's time to start being an observer more than a trader.
Yeah, that's actually
maybe
that's actually one of the reasons why I can't wait for Anne Marie's segment here, because those option trades, very, very well defined risk, and I would feel a lot better about having my risk defined ahead of the trade. By the way, SLXN, for those of you who are still on it, this going for the intraday highs here.
Ooh. Look at DNAT. Okay, give me 1 second.
Donut got killed by the fat drugs. Jay gave us that earlier. Hard to eat Krispy Kremes if you're taking semaglutides and tirzepatide.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see that these GLP-1s are starting to be treated as more of a cosmetic thing, which that's going to be dangerous. People are, yeah. So it's something we were talking about when this whole theme started. That could be something that we end up seeing. Well, it's down on earnings, had weak guidance, but it's up off the low. What? Because it was super killed off of the earnings. That's what it seems like it's doing here. Just a 60-cent rebound off the open. Still pretty low though. Still lower RSI. Maybe it fills the gap. I don't know. I'd have to look more into this, but yeah, I think as long as GLP-1s are still a hot theme, I don't know that Krispy Kreme is going to really make a comeback.
I don't think so either. Kava here, by the way, this has been a great down move here on Kava. I tell you what, I still think we have some more room here. Maybe we get a bounce in there, but I thought this was overvalued at 90 on the way back up. See you later, Jim. You're going for another. Jim, you're killing me, man. You're down in Florida too, aren't you? Going for another 18 of 50 degrees. No, you must not be in Florida if it's 50 degrees. Anyway, Jim, enjoy. Go low. I can't wait for golf to start.
WAFU under 4. I think that's all she wrote.
We had that. We had the WAFU is over call a while ago. That was a good one. I hope hopefully no one is getting hurt on that one. JTAI here actually looks like this might roll over again too. This one might be toast today as well.
Yeah, let's just, all these awesome movers that we've been dealing with for the past year. Let's let these things die out. We'll resurrect them later. We'll trade them when they're phoenixes again.
I like it.
FMTO, this also looks like it's about to make some new intercession lows. ONVO open again, trying to recapture that 145 area. Well, it's above 145 right now, but trying to hold above it. Again, I think we just need. I'm just going to be sitting on my hands until the afternoon because I feel like a lot of these are going to continue to get pulled down. Bitcoin is showing some recovery though, so this could be coming back on.
Looks like that low, at least that I have on the futures chart for Bitcoin, 85,820. We actually bounced about 1,000 points there. Also notable, the VIX put in its high. If the VIX repeats what it did yesterday, high might be in for the day. High here on the VIX, 2138. We've come back in a little bit, still holding at 2039. But again, if this repeats yesterday, that VIX should melt the rest of the day.
This has been a pretty ugly move into SPY the past few days.
As we've been saying, we kind of needed this reset, no? So,
yeah. But it looks like it could still go lower. Now we almost did we hit that exactly? So February 3rd, we had a low of 590 and 49 cents. And we today we hit 590 and 50 cents.
SLXN new highs. This is another one that's still working here. Selexion Therapeutics. Shout out to you, Jay Walker, for staying on top of that. Also, Pretty Panda.
Who's a Pretty Panda?
YYAI. That was one that we traded recently. That was last week, right? Oh, it was yesterday. Really? Oh my God, yeah, it was. Jeez, I'm really flying here. I'll pass. I'm not looking. I'll tell you what, especially a day like today, I'm not looking for junk. Not anymore. We had it out of the open. I miraculously did not get murked. So now we'll look for some better stocks. Amazon actually trying to bounce off 206. Bitcoin also looks like it's trying to put another leg up here on the Bitcoin futures chart.
I have a concern about what SPY might end up doing if it hits 594 and can't close above that. It looks like this is setting up for a bear flag to the downside. You can see it right there. 594 is going to be the level I'm watching for to see if it can hold above it or not. If it can't, then that's what I think it could reverse. We lost at that level today, and it tried, for 10 minutes to recapture that. Couldn't do it. So might see the same thing happen here. 594 on SPY.
I see a number of you are on SLXN. Just making sure I get that ticker correct. Nice job, Daniel. Nice job here again today. Captain Cloudy saying lots of traps for the bulls today. Does feel like that. Also, one of the reasons why I don't want to get, I just don't want to make a mess of things. We got a day here. Market has been pulling back every day. We got another day here. The market's pulling back, and I've actually done a pretty good job. So the last thing that I want to do is give it up. Also, it's almost 50 degrees here in Chicago, and I want to get outside again.
Yeah, go fishing. Go fishing. Go for a walk.
I'm definitely going to exercise outside.
Yeah, do
Oh, yeah.
something besides sit here and hope the market turns around. I think we did good this morning, and we just
again, I hate to
from
just
here.
keep harping on the same thing. I'm really not trying to beat a dead horse, but my God, have I been waiting for the market to come in for a long time? If this is it, giddy up.
Hey,
Nick, what's going on, my man? Hopefully you're doing well. Aura Alpha saying took Intel 2319. Or is that for a short-term trade, or is that more of like a swing investment in Intel? Let me know. I'm interested. I'm kind of wondering, just to myself here, is that moving Intel down, or do we have some more like long-term legs on that? I want to say that we do, right? It feels to me like we do. You highlighted earlier, trying to do more to keep chip production here in the United States. I got to think that this is going to have some more runway here, but
I'm betting.
yeah, that's my thought too. MLGO getting mentioned by several members here in the chat. It did pop away from that VWAP.
Yeah, 520 still looks like it's a pretty. Just look at the price action from yesterday, and that's going to give you some levels to look for as far as resistance goes. And 520 has already been won. You can see how that came into play yesterday as support, and then we lost it. Another level could be 555. If we go even higher than that, 610. So there's levels all the way up for MLGO, all the way up to 650.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you. This looks sus. I think MLGO probably rolls back over here today. I'm not sure you get a huge run on this one.
I already said I am not going to be touching anything until the afternoon. So I'm just going to be an observer. And it's for the same reason I'm sure you're thinking of. Like this has a lot of potential to just trap all kinds of things. And it
ran on air the first time, and I suspect that it could just really kind of trap people up. Now, I might be wrong on this. It's easy for me to make that claim. I don't have any money in this. I got no trade on this, so easy for me to just say that, but looks sus.
I don't think we got any news on I saw news from yesterday, so I don't know if it showed up on our feed here. But my understanding is that for Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, who runs the Lucasfilm segment, she might be stepping down by the end of the year.
What does that mean for the Lucasfilm then? Does that, do we know?
I'll say good things.
Okay. I know what you mean by that, and I'll tell you what, that is a franchise I'd like to see return to its glory, so fingers crossed.
Sorry, Izzy, I am not on X. If you want to talk to me after the show, I am in the Benzinga Pro Happy Hour channel all day, every day. I am on X. And I can relay messages to 13, but if you start smack talking him, he's going to eventually just tell me to stuff it and then not listen to me. So pick and choose what you want me to deliver to him wisely. Sorry, 13. If you start talking smack on, he'll relay it to me and we'll laugh together.
We'll have a nice little laugh about that. See that too.
Yeah. Daniel, I like 2 to 4 for afternoon trading. It's like an hour before power hour and during power hour. It's basically like, mostly it's after the lunch hour is over. Traders returning to their desks. Volume starts to increase. Just, look for the some noticeable moments of stocks turning around and starting to get more attention that were beaten up during the lunch hour. That kind of thing. But it's generally like, the last couple hours of the regular session when I start taking a look at things for potential trades.
Yeah, I generally speaking, as just kind of a habit for myself, I try to do this exercise that I talked to you about that I do during the day as opposed to the end of the day. I absolutely try to do that right around the lunch hour. I've given back more gains during that slow lull of a lunch hour than I care to admit. And so one of my strategies for protecting myself, just don't do it, right? You go into the doctor's office, said, "Doc, it hurts when I do this." You can say, "Well, stop doing that." And so that's kind of my strategy here. I trade when I have the setup. And if there's a time during the course of the day where things just don't go well, generally just kind of avoid that. Izzy saying, "I'm not a troll." I know, Izzy. We love you. I love you. Nick saying, I would wish I was out of more positions before the big retracement. Or I think you said retraction, but retracement, whatever, same thing. Still learning every day, week, month. So this is actually a pretty good point. This is one of the things that we had been talking about in happy hour. One of the things that I really wanted to do was kind of roll out of some of my longer term positions just to raise more cash. The one I really wanted to get out of was Portillo's because I'm kind of okay with that one. The ONDS one that I'm in, I have more of a runway on that, and I still think I'm going to get double digits on that in the future. So I have no problem dealing with the pain in the near term. And frankly, if that goes down to pennies again, I will be doubling up my position almost certainly. But I'm with you there, Nick. I wanted to sell some of this stuff and raise cash prior to the move. The one of the things that I would say is that if you feel that the move is happening now, know what you own. Feel good about what you own. If you own something and you're like, I don't know, I don't really feel all great about this, and you really think the market is going to sell off, well, maybe take a look at that position again. If the stuff that you should own, if we go through a correction, you should feel good about the long-term prospects for that. Also, regarding that lunch hour you guys are mentioning here, Europe closes. What is that, Jay? 11 Eastern? Is that the time that Europe closes? Remind me what the actual time is there. That does definitely feed into the lunch lull. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, Lion.
Take care, Lion.
Yeah, I was going to say 13 doesn't. That's not going to do anything. Those hackers can't stop a bullet.
This is Texas.
He's in Texas.
Oh man,
I'm just look, like I said, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I don't know what you want me to say. All right, folks, we got Anne Marie coming up here next. 13. You want to actually? You know what? We don't even have Anne Marie. Oh shoot! Did I give her the thing? Did I give? Yeah, I did. Oh my god! I thought for a sec I didn't give her the link. All right, we'll have Anne Marie here in a sec.
Perfect. I'll just say my salutations then, folks. Another great day of trading. We've identified some real movers. We nailed them. Hopefully nobody got caught in any of those bull traps that we were identifying as well. Another great day. Like I said, let's come back here all refreshed and ready to go. We'll have another great day again. We'll identify those movers. We'll find some levels. We'll trade them and we'll win. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care. Have fun with Anne-Marie.
I love it, 13. Take care. If you have any tickers that you want Anne-Marie to take a look at, throw them in the chat. We'll go ahead and bring her on. Take care, 13. We'll see you later and tomorrow. 13's departure, of course, leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's bring her on. Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday. Love the hoodie look. How you doing today?
I know. Love Michigan. Absolutely.
Tell me about it.
Such a beautiful place.
Tell me about it.
I know it. I loved living there. So I apologize for being a minute or two late. I was mesmerized by the price action today. It's been zany.
Quite all right. As long as I held up my end of the bargain and I gave you the link to join, no big deal. We can handle an extra minute here. Also, folks, don't forget, we do have Tech Tune-Up with Paul Meeks coming up after Anne-Marie. So we're going to be cooking here for you during the sell-off. Anne-Marie, you kind of already hinted at it. Price action here, pretty wild. What do you want to take a look at first here today?
Okay, so first thing, I want to share with some folks some very interesting indicators. You can look at market breadth also, but there is something that's really great to watch. And that's
UFO ETFs.
I know. How to know the top is near. I have the NYSE composite advancers minus decliners. So it tells us a little bit about that market breadth, but in another way. And so we could see yesterday when the price action started to bounce in all of the markets and then rotated right over. We're looking at the same thing today. It gapped up. A lot of people were thinking, hey, this is buy the dip. We lost the 50 SMA yesterday. And every time that happens, we buy the dip. Mm-hmm. And this time it looks a little different. So one of the things we really have to watch, if we're wondering about market current, using this $ADDC. It's on a lot of platforms, but this is Thinkorswim. It gives you a really good idea of what flow is in the market. The second one I want to show you.
Real quickly
Yeah.
here on that, the number that's being represented there by that ADDC, is that the difference in advancing and declining stocks?
Yes, it
okay,
is.
so it's a positive number. There's more advancing than declining. And if it's negative, the inverse is true?
Correct.
All right.
However, what we really care about is the slope of the price action. It tells us what's going on.
Okay.
And so the slope of the price action is going to say, hey, listen, so see over here, you can see we stopped heading lower. We bounced into resistance, pulled back for a higher low. Market kept rising until about 2 o'clock, and then everything started selling off again. So this is a great indicator when you're positioning your trades to tell you whether you have the wind at your back or the wind in your face. And so the second one is the VVIX, and that is the volatility of the VIX. And so very interestingly, a few days ago I do a video for the Benzinga Pro platform every morning. And last week I said, hey, the VVIX is looking like where it normally sits for a bounce. And so this could tell us that the market's got a fade on it. And true to form, we came out of the gates, it went straight up, and the market went straight down. So the two things here is to notice this moves with trend, and this is an inverse indicator because it tells us about rising volatility, and rising volatility is likely to bring us lower prices. So the big number to watch in the VVIX is if we close the week over 120. If that happens, we're going to have ourselves a pretty interesting week.
Okay.
And so that's a good one to note. That being said, one of the things I'd like to talk about, which I rarely do, is a leveraged ETF. It's the SPXU. And what this leveraged ETF does is when the market begins to sell off, the prices rise. And so this leveraged ETF could be a very nice trade in the coming days/weeks. Now, here's what I expect. Because the SPY broke down under the 50, and every single time it's gone there, the markets have brought it up in about 3 days. This should fade into a region that will hold support. And so the question is, take a look at how long it's been holding that 20 ledge. Absolutely beautiful. Broke it for 1 day and began to bounce. This clearly is some kind of rotation event, and it could have a lot of updraft. So let's take a look at that. Because February and March I know people think about October and September being bad, but in reality, the most volatile months of the trading year are in February and March. It was the COVID low.
Yep.
We've seen all kinds of things come all the way down into March and then begin a bounce.
And we've actually shared some seasonality stats. Several folks in the chat have the same type of thing, showing that really mid-February to the end of March is peak seasonal low, right? The seasonality chart telling us generally that that's the weak period here for the market. So that lines up too.
Awesome. So this is a highly leveraged ETF. If the market really rolls over and we start collapsing, everything that's financialized will fade. But if it's an organized selling event, this is going to hold very nicely. And so my thought is, why not just the 24 straight calls? They're 73 cents right now. They could pull back. If we bounce after 3 days, this could get a lot cheaper. We could end up with, I don't know, half that price as the exposure. And then the run up into the area, look at how much room this has on the upside. Have a gander. First thing that we can look at is the formation into 24, which is why I picked it. Here's what you want to do. When it comes into that area, you want to set an alert. When it comes into that area, you want to close this call. It's going to be time to do it.
Okay.
And when it fades and holds 20 to 21 again, you get to reload and do it one more time. I think straight long calls is the way to go here. If the market has a significant jolt, it's going to be very pretty, and it's going to be sort of like a hedge for your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 would be the next line in the sand, and then 34 beyond that. So it's got a lot of upside, really fairly cheap, because the option price, the option strikes are so low and the stock is so cheap. But I like it.
Now,
I think it's very interesting.
So the one thing I see here is it looks like this is not the most active chain. It looks like he actually got a little bit of a spread going there too. Is this
Yes.
is this a deal where you maybe kind of put in like a
Position it
bid?
at the mark.
Okay, so you're maybe trying to like split
Yeah.
those, whatever the
Yeah.
spread is, maybe split it in half and
Yeah,
look for it.
or
Okay.
you could simply, because I believe that what we're trying to do is bottom here today. We're trying to build structure at these lower areas in the market right now.
Hmm.
I would try to get this at 50 cents.
Okay.
Oops. Yeah, get it at 50 cents. See if you can get it. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, and you really want to get involved, then maybe you try it at 68. But it's going to be super. And you can see a lot of traders piling in at that number right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, open interest. The
is
open
solid.
interest there looks good. It's the volume number that's got me worried.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're able to actually kind of wait this out, that could be really great.
And
Awesome.
because you're going straight calls, it's not going to be something where you have to sit around and wait for the price action to do what you want it to. It's gonna be a lot easier on the move straight up.
Yeah.
All right.
No question.
So the next one, what did we want to look at? Snow?
Yeah, snow was definitely one that the chat was shouting earlier. I think there was some mentions for Palantir.
Yes.
I think SMCI, because we're kind of waiting that 10K out here today.
Yeah.
Today's a big day for that.
Yeah.
So I think we should have plenty here, and we could always go for NVIDIA, which reports earnings tomorrow. So
Yes.
we should have plenty of different things to take a look at here.
Yeah. Are they after the market?
Yes.
Okay.
That
All
is the
right.
big event of tomorrow, right when we close.
Bananas. Okay, so like I like to look at earnings. Let's take a look at what's happened with the last maybe 5 or 6 earnings. It's bounced for 3 weeks, fell into the earnings number, bounced for 3 weeks, rolled right over, came to break even. All right. Then the earnings after that ran into earnings, continue to bounce, and then absolutely went bananas into old resistance. Okay, so that is a clear rotation to the north. The very next earnings gave all of it back and then some. The earnings after that gave it all back. Small bounce, old resistance, old support, new resistance, gave it all back. Here we go again. Bounce for a couple of weeks, earnings, gave it all back. And lately, it's run into the space. But if we're looking at the motion, it looks to me like this might be a place where they give it all back. So the question is, can we do something on the cheap here? And so let's measure this great big candlestick formation here. The 50% area is 150. We're sitting at 162. If we give it all back into frontline support, it'll take us down to 125. Okay, so let's take a look at the chains. Oops, I forgot to think about upside. All right, if we have upside pressure where it continues to run, 190 to 185. All right, let's do it. 185, 125. All right, vol monstrous vol. Let's see if we can find anything interesting. So here's something at 130, right? 69 cents on the put side. And then 180. Let's see if we can do a butterfly here and get this on the cheap. 190, 200. Okay, so flat out put for 130. If it's supposed to go to 125 in just a couple of days, this is going to be absolutely a rock star play. It's going to go bananas. Now, let's give it a little more time and see what that might be if we moved to March to give it the couple of weeks that it normally needs when it's running off the rails. Ooh, spread kind of big here. So if we go 130 to 120 to 110, 33 cents on the put side. So I like that even better. And if we go to the call side, it'll be 180 to 190 to 200. Looks pretty good. About $110. You get both sides, and it's got a total upside in that $1,000 spread. Me, if I were taking this trade, I would just buy the puts. Simply because I think rotationally we've got ourselves a little bit of a problem. But if I'm wrong, it's going to bounce off of this 50 simple moving average event, and it's going to continue to the upside. But I do kind of like this one.
You know, I'll say this, Emery, and straighten me out here if I've got this wrong. But honestly, I feel like whenever you give us a scenario where we are playing a butterfly to one side, and then you have your choice of just straight puts or calls or a butterfly on the other side, I'm almost always a fan of the straight puts or calls, because if you get that movement, like you were saying earlier, first of all, it's a lot easier to cash that out. And it's actually easier to do that in stages too, if you kind of want to let that move progress.
100%.
The other thing is that it's easier for me to triage. So if I've got let's say I've got an upside butterfly and I got downside puts, and the stock after the earnings event moves to the downside, and I'm selling those puts at a premium there. It's if my butterfly is getting destroyed, I'm probably just going to let that one go. And so if I hold that on there and the stock starts to firm up and recover, now I'm already positioned in some cases to the upside. I can actually triage some of the calls off the butterfly as well, maybe even leaving the low one on so I can kind of juice some of those. It seems to me like I have an easier time trading if I have, instead of having butterflies on each side, butterflies and just straight calls or puts on the other side. So I would do the same thing, frankly, in the setup that you're giving us here.
Super. So that's what we're looking at for snow.
Okay.
And let's see what else. Palantir, right?
Palantir, yeah. Palantir was definitely one of them. We got a couple of them.
Yeah.
SMCI was one of the other ones. In fact, we're getting a question here. Miguel is saying, when is the data for SMCI coming? The deadline is today. The deadline is today. And I believe that those deadlines are end of day. So I think you've got pretty much all session to wait for that. I don't know of a specific time that that's due. Anyway.
Okay, good to know. So my thought is that Palantir is probably on its way to somewhere between 85 and 80. It could be also on the way to 65. And so that's my thought. When it lost the 94 zone, right? And that would have been the open of this week. It bounced up and then it moved down. To me, that says, all right, we're going to head to 79 and potentially 63 because I did measure this last wave. So let's say you're really bullish Palantir and you're thinking to yourself, I just can't make myself do it. I can't go short this stock because it's been so good to me. You could easily say, all right, let me give this chart some time. Let me give it some time. Let me give it some time to recover. So you could go to April or May, right? Let's say you went to May, right? And you said it should recover. I don't know. Let's see, 110. What was the high? 125. Yeah, we'll leave it $15 wide.
Okay.
And then 140. Right? It's $1 with $1,500 of upside. Now, if you read Benzinga Edge, I put on a position. I wrote an article for Benzinga and I said, hey, listen, why not buy this put spread? It was like $1. And now it's, and I put it on and I could hear the guys that I was sharing it with go, come on, what are you even thinking? And here it is, all the way down here. Now, it's definitely in the money, right? Because here we are looking at 86. So if you did read that article on Benzinga Edge and you did take this position, now you can look at closing it for 100% profit because it was certainly doing something very, very nice. So that being said, if you're looking for it to bounce, but you need to give it some time, I'll use your term. Why not put a stink bid in here for 60 cents and see if it can come in? Because right now, this chart is in a significant fade. I mean, it is shaking all of the weak hands out.
Sure is.
All of the weak hands out.
I can't believe those guys came for the queen without coming correct. I mean, that's their own fault. That's their own fault.
Wait, I'm a simpleton. What does that mean?
That means that they tried to smack talk your position without knowing your track record, and now they're being punished. That's what that means. Okay, so that's that's what it means. Yeah. Hopefully there was a lesson learned in there. But anyway.
Fine. Yeah. Manage your risk is the only lesson there, right? You're only as good as your next at bat.
That's true. I love the baseball reference. I can actually, man, I'm ready for baseball. I'm ready for baseball here. Okay. Was that it on Palantir? You want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
I would suggest SMCI just because there's a lot of buzz. It's hot right now. And if we have more time at the end, I would say let's park this plane with NVIDIA.
All right, sure enough. So we've got a lot of positions that we've discussed about SMCI. I felt like I was the lone bear in the room. But we did have a put butterfly that was about 67 cents because we bought it when the price action was really high. It's now $2.50 or so. And this one was in March because we expected the fade due to high volatility in the March contracts in general. And so that's the time. Oh, thanks.
It's Mike.
That's nice.
That's
and so that's a zone we could probably look to cover, because if it's good news, we might be wondering, hey, why did the good news take so long? And that is going to undermine confidence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so we might look for another short action event into heavy congestion, right? That's the 37. So true to form, let's see what we have on our Analyze tab. So if we're thinking to ourselves, hey, this could really bounce hard because of the way it bounced last time, or it could absolutely fall off a cliff. Now, here's the problem. To go straight calls or straight puts, the vol is ridiculous. 200% implied volatility makes for very expensive flat out put/calls. But you could do something like a vertical spread, a 35-30. That would give you, let's see, let me erase some of these. You could go with a straight vertical call, and if it collapses, it's 3.5 to 1 risk to reward, and it's really funny. It's a really nice way to do a 3.5 to 1 easy vertical spread. If you're looking for it to lift and get back up over 50, same sort of thing. You could do, a vertical spread. Now, the problem is you're not going to get a lot of juice for the squeeze if you put on both of those. So I would say wait and let the chart tell you what it's going to do, and then pick the side. For instance, what I mean by that is, so here we are at 45. We should have held 47, but we're moving down. And notice earnings event shoved us way up here.
Yep.
My thought was that it was a short squeeze. It's coming right back. So the question is, if I've broken down through the gap and filled it, what should I do? Let's put in our handy dandy Fibonacci.
You also have a pretty crazy trend line from that 122.90 high through the rest of those highs there.
Yeah.
And if you extend that all the way, you actually had a back test of that trend line with the current candle that we're looking at right now. So I don't know if this is something that you want to add. Lower it a little bit. The highs that were back there, what's that? Looks like July of 2024, that little wick.
This
on
one?
That white candle. Yep. Draw it through the top of that high and then that following high as well. and then extend it all the way down. Started at that 122.90 and then draw it through those two peaks that are there. I know it's so hard to have someone else tell you how to draw a trend line. I struggle with this all the time.
Yeah, so that was where I had it first, but you want me to pull it in.
Pull it in, and then, get that trend line to touch those two there. There you go. And actually, if you did that a little bit more, if you get it so that trend line touches that first peak right there, you almost, on that candle here today, had a back test of that we failed.
Yep.
So this is one that actually, I added this to the chart when we were first looking at this. We did this last night. Just figured I'd mention it.
Fantastic. So for me, I don't use trend lines for that same sort of thing. Because I can't draw them. I'm a putz with drawing the trend lines. I'm totally serious. And so when I look at that sort of stuff, I just go, all right, what do I have to hold here? Well, if I come in and test 42 and I can't hold it, I am very likely to test 37. And then if I lose that 37 area, I'm down into the 50% range and the breakout zone near 30. So this is a very interesting space. The chart could easily bounce. The chart could easily fade. And so if I want to have a better feeling of what goes on, I think I might want to look at the monthly candlestick. But whoa, we just started selling again. Wow.
Yep. Rolling back over to the lows here. The TZA is working though. TZA is printing.
Oh yes, I love those. I have really gotten quite enamored with these triple leveraged ETFs and such.
I'll tell you what,
very interesting.
Hand over fist calls at 15 cents that are now what, 40? Not terrible.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got, let me just do, I know my time is up, but I just want to make sure that if we are staring down the range of motion from high to low, I mean, I really think that we head to 35. That's my thought. That's my
okay.
thought.
Good stuff there. We covered a lot, Anne-Marie, but really, really good stuff there. And indeed, we are selling here. So I'm going to let you get back to the market. Thanks again for giving out some of those trades. We'll see. I may try that snow one. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Anne-Marie, thanks very much. We are up against the clock here. We'll see you on Friday. Okay?
Yes.
All right. That is Anne-Marie. Folks, put your hands together for the queen. I can't believe someone tried to smack talk her position. What a lesson learned that was. All right. I'm going to send you over to Paul Meeks and Tech Tune Up right now. Great stuff here today, folks. You know we're going to repeat this tomorrow. Have a good rest of your